Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. It's Sunday night, and Puck is still lost in the wilderness, so we are having to make do until he gets back. But I think making do might be an understatement tonight because we got two of the original members of this entire thing, and the other two of us are original warlocks. So we're kind of right back to the beginning here. These three incredibly brave people have agreed to come on here tonight with me and play a game that I built. My role-playing game, never really been played before much, and they agreed to come out here and play it with me on stream, and I'm very, very happy that they did. Thank you to Dawn, Sarah, and Jonathan for that. That is awesome. I appreciate this very much. But before we get into the actual game, we have to dot some I's and cross some T's. First of all, our regularly scheduled programming will resume shortly, but for the next little while, tomorrow, you guys want to absolutely tune in because tomorrow is Sky's Table Flip. And he's not just DMing for the first time on stream. He's DMing for the first time on stream with three professional level DMs on the other side of the screen. So that's going to be a tremendous amount of fun to watch. You definitely got to tune in for that regular Monday time. And then Tuesday is the final episode of Deadlands. It all comes to a head off the West Coast on Tuesday night. Further on next week, next Sunday, we get another episode of this, which we'll be doing then. And then that Monday, we have a guest DM coming in. I'm really looking forward to this. I got a chance to play with her in a game. I really want to see her DM. Mandari will be coming in with some other folks and running a game for us a week from tomorrow. Also, can't forget these guys, the Avalon Society, London Fall, Dead Aussie Gamer and Co., the international game, as I've taken to calling it. They've got Guy from How to Be a Great GM. They've got Myri from Orkenspalter TV. They've got Till from Dungeon Fog, Janet from World Anvil, Anthony, also known as Vegemite Dangerous from Roll for Damage, and their Fate Master running the whole thing is Michael, the Dead Aussie Gamer himself. That is a game which literally covers half of the globe in time zones while they're playing. So check out the schedule and the Twitch channel below, the panels below, to see exactly when all of that is going down. If you don't have time for that schedule, we have almost everything over on YouTube, including the Hero Factory bits that have been going out on a regular weekly basis. More to come. I have had a sneak peek, and some of it is amazing. Tune in and see that stuff. It is the finished product is stunning to look at, and the shows that you guys put out are worth watching, even if nothing comes out of them. And of course, you can also catch up on all the Mercs of Mischief and all of the other games. You've still got a little while left to get caught up before Puck gets back and hurls us back into that mayhem. So to check all of that. Also, on the technical side, tonight, thank you very much to Tabletop Audio and Audionautics for sound effects and noises and musics and whatnot. And then the biggest thank you of all, and that's for all of our viewers and all of those people over in chat, all of you that have ever given us bits, all of you that have ever donated or joined into our little fun. Everybody that's been over on Patreon, I know you get like stuff for doing it, but we still really appreciate that you're doing it at all. And you can also subscribe through Twitch Prime. If you've got that, you get one subscription. We'd really appreciate it. And even just coming in and chatting with us like people are right now and giving us those follows and giving us those subs here and on YouTube makes a huge difference to what we're trying to do here. And we appreciate every single bit of it.
Also,
yes,
a big thank you to, I don't know, did I miss it? A thank you to Hero Forge.
I was just getting there.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. I never get to do this one, but go ahead.
Save the best for last.
This is the real deal. This is an actual sponsorship. This is Hero Forge, who has graciously sponsored us for months now. And we are doing a whole series of videos using their wonderful product, including some of the stuff that we have secret special access to, like colors and giant wings and all kinds of wonderful stuff. And again, tune into the YouTube. Go check us out on YouTube and check out the results of some of those. They are amazing. Dagger, you're ahead of yourself. But I think that's it. That's all the announcements. Have I missed anything? I've got most of the people here who would know.
Well, I think you got everything.
I think we're good. Okay.
I think we're good.
If I hadn't interrupted.
That just makes it feel more organic and less like we planned it. Oh, speaking of planning it, I was originally going to start this because it's a brand new system and a brand new game. I was going to do a whole explanation, but that would be ridiculous. So let's just drop in and do this. These three people live in a very near future world. And I have to do this now because I have to do this to read now. This sucks. You guys live in a very near future world, probably less than 20 years ahead of where we are right now. And a lot of things have changed in that 20 years because technology does. But it's fairly similar. It's a world you would find fairly comfortable if you were to jump to it from today. But one thing has changed. Every square inch is searched, is covered by CCTV cameras. There are seismic sensors in the ground that monitor where you walk. There's almost no crime anymore, no physical crime. But the payoff for that is there's almost nothing left to explore. There's almost no adventure left. So for whatever your personal reasons, you clicked a link that promised adventure, new places, big money, and fear, just a little bit. And that link told you to come here. And here is actually pretty damn fancy. You're on the 123rd floor of a nanotech built tower that rises another 77 floors above this one and allegedly descends up to 100 floors below the surface. But there's no public access to that. As you ride up in the elevator, you can feel the slightly flexible skin of the tower tighten and loosen as the high tensile dodecahedrons that make up this building's bones flex and deform based on some algorithm to counteract the storm outside. As the elevator opens, you can see the rain blatting against the wall because it's all glass. You're so far up and the clouds are so low, you're actually in the clouds. But it's weird because you can see the rain and you can feel the wind, but you can't hear anything from the storm. What you can hear is the building itself, that sort of high tension wire hum of a building under stress as it braces and rebraces itself. You haven't seen one person since you walked into this building. The floor is empty and it still smells of that molded carbon fiber and the pigment that the nanobots exude instead of paint. But it's like the resolution is off. The carpet sort of blends into the wall. It's been built as one unit and it shows. It's like it's not very well done. The doors are so flush that they're hard to find. But eventually you do find the one that's marked timely interventions. It's a weird name, but it was a weird ad. It's a weird world. The door opens as you approach before you even touch it. And the first one to walk in is Fiona. So I'm just going to describe the room for you, and then we'll have the other two walk in and you guys will describe each other a little bit. But you're the first one to walk through the door. And this office, it's a large, empty space. You can see marks on the floor where walls could have been put in to turn this into like an office and a reception area, but that wasn't done. There's 3 identical office chairs sitting in a row in the middle of the room. And behind them is a very simple black desk. It looks like it's got a drawer in it, but there's no way to open it. And on the wall, weirdly enough, in this world where almost everything is 3D projection, there's a 48-inch monitor. The boxes and the packaging for everything are piled neatly in the corner, including all the styrofoam fittings and the plastic bags. And there's even a receipt sitting on top, like somebody might be taking this all back after this is done. They've even left the plastic around the monitor. Other than that, this room is just very lightly lit with lighting strips that are built into the walls. You have a couple seconds to look around, and then Drew, you walk in. So what does Fiona see when Drew walks in? Just a quick physical description.
So he kind of walks in, and he's got his head down, and he has he's playing a video game, like on like a handheld device. And he's like,
yeah.
And he's just a like a scrawny dude. He's like probably 20 to 25. And he's just wearing like just some joggers and a shirt that says it says esports Drew come, and then on the back it says coming soon. And he's got like you know the like wireless,
yep.
Basically AirPods.
Yep. A non-brand name equivalent to that. Yes, absolutely. So that's what Fiona, that's what you see when Drew walks in. In my head, Drew kind of trips over the door on the way in, and that's the only reason he looks up. And when he sees Fiona, what does he see?
Fiona's quite tall for a woman, very kind of square is kind of probably the first thing that comes to mind. Very broad shoulders. She's got her hair pulled back in a French braid, kind of white shirt, khaki pants, and she's got like kind of like a ranger type hat on a cord kind of hanging off of her back. And just kind of, I imagine she'd be kind of leaning against the desk, not quite sitting on it, but just kind of casually standing there waiting.
Nice. And then a couple seconds later, possibly because he stopped to figure out exactly how this levitating elevator system worked. A few moments later, stumbles in? No, that's not the right word. How does Nathaniel enter this room, and then what does he look like?
I would say that he, what's the appropriate word? Not quite shuffles, somewhere between a shuffle and a march. It comes in to the room, and you see a young man of his late 20s, wearing round-rimmed glasses and 2 pairs of gloves and a very well-tailored shirt and slacks. A simple but stylish outfit altogether.
And I will just mention that in this world, in this time, at the level of, this is set in Vancouver, so the glasses are either an affectation or he's chosen not to have them fixed. There's no reason to wear glasses in this time and space. So I don't even think I didn't even tell Jonathan that, but
I have removed the lenses for safety purposes, but
okay. Yeah.
Largely at this point a comfort issue. I feel strange without them after so many years.
After so many years. So as you enter, the last person, Nathaniel, you see the chairs and the rest of the room, and the monitor on the wall sort of flickers, which again is completely unnecessary. There's no reason for that. It's a brand new LED monitor, but there's sort of an image. And then the image on the screen is actually, it looks like it's been drawn with a black felt pen. It's a table with a wall behind it and a clock on the wall that has three arms on it, all equal length. And on the table at the front, there's a figure that looks like it's sleeping with its hands on its arms. And it's got that sort of shimmer to it. There used to be an animation style where even when the characters were standing still, the outlines kind of moved.
Like Dr. Katz?
I was thinking Bob's Burgers, but it's kind of that sort of thing. So you could tell that it's animated, but it doesn't move. And in fact, there's no movement at all when the voice starts out of the soundbar below it. I have to do this again. It says, "Hello, we are the Sleeper. Welcome to Timely Interventions. There are people in this world with more money than most countries. Because of this, there is an entire hidden economy that most people, most bankers, and even most billionaires never see. In this hyper-economy, physical things lack value. A certain subset gather esoteric information and odd truths. One of these people has hired us to answer some very difficult questions. We have, in turn, hired you to investigate for us. It is fair to say that a truly stupendous amount of money has been spent to allow us to transport you back through time. With enough trillions, I assure you, anything is possible. Our client wants answers. Concerning your first mission, should you choose to accept it, what do you know about King Arthur and Merlin?"
Do you two know if we're meant to respond?
What's up? I don't. What's up? What'd they say?
I
say
can
something?
only assume that they want a response. I've heard the fairy tales.
There are legends of the Camelot era that are highly suspect. If I'd like to think that if someone had discovered immortality at that time, I would have come across it much sooner.
That is in fact our expectation as well. However, payment will be made upon proving to our client's satisfaction a simple question. Did King Arthur and Merlin ever actually exist?
I look, when I played King Arthur, right? Like, it made a pretty good point for it, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it felt like real. Like, it felt like this could be a thing that happened.
Are we to investigate the existence of people known or who would eventually become known by these names, or the specific nature of their alleged abilities?
You are not the first team which has been sent on this mission. Several have gone before, and the dates they were sent to have allowed us to close the gap. We will be sending you as close as is possible to the day upon which the sword in the stone incident is purported to have occurred.
Should we succeed with this?
Don, you're muted.
Oh.
And
should we succeed, would this technology become available to us for our own research purposes?
You would be exceptionally well compensated in terms of today for this particular mission and any others you perform. If you were to perform successfully a number of missions and at some point wish to retire, I saw no reason why we couldn't put you anywhere or any when you desired.
do you have a portable charger? Because I obviously I brought my charger, but I'm not gonna be able to plug it in if we're going back to King Arthur time. Like, does anybody have a portable charger?
I have some bad news for
It's the
you.
it's the USB-G.
I don't know if you've done much study into history, but electricity.
No. Look, I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed and stuff. Okay, like, well, I get the general, the general idea.
You look down at the arm of the chair beside you, this office chair, and it starts to kind of pucker, and it starts to fold in on itself, and this little port appears.
Drew just
totally
plugs
normal
it
to you, but it's like this place is just crawling with nanobots right
Drew
there.
just plugs it in.
Yeah. And you watch your bar charge, like, holy crap, way too fast.
I have questions about that, but those can come later. So is there anything that we should know in addition for preparation? Is that I'm highly surprised at the lack of personnel present. The last time I was at this facility, there were a few people that I spoke to.
We have made certain arrangements so that our activities will go unnoticed. I did mention trillions of dollars, did I not? Shutting down a building for a day.
Yes, I have questions about that as well, but macroeconomics aren't a specialty of mine. What arrangements have been made? Are we to be supplied, outfitted with some sort of defensive gear?
Or perhaps clothing to allow us to blend in with the correct time period?
That has been considered. You will find in the chamber clothing which is era appropriate. We have, upon reflection, decided to have you dressed as mid-level nobles so that you will have access to anywhere that you need to get to. This clothing is specially designed. It will break down into completely organic matter in less than 2 weeks' time, thus making sure we don't leave any artifacts behind.
What about inoculations against contemporary diseases? I can speak quite assuredly that medical science has come a very long way in the millennia since, and I would prefer to not carry back the bubonic plague.
This also has been considered. You will be the air in the chamber is by breathing it, you will be inoculated against any and all things on the other side of the door. Also, as a side effect, you will be inoculated against almost everything on this side of the door as well.
Why was this not offered sooner, if it's so easy to administer?
It is, for most, prohibitively expensive.
I suppose some things don't ever change. All right then.
Drew like kind of sidles up to Fiona and he's like, is this guy like our leader? Who is? Do you know him?
I don't. Fiona's gonna turn to Nathaniel and go, I'm Fiona. I didn't catch your name.
Nathaniel Russell. A pleasure to meet you. I don't shake hands.
Oh, all right. And you, sir?
Oh, hey, what's up? I am XX_ Desperadru. But you know, everybody just calls me Drew.
I'm going to call you Drew.
Yeah.
I will also call you Drew.
Yeah, it's shorter. It's fine. But that's and then he turns around and it says coming soon, and then it says Desperadru. under the
Yeah.
XX_Desperado.
Yeah. And you just
Alright.
know it was like a one-off at a custom T-shirt manufacturing website,
Yeah,
which shall
yeah.
remain unnamed. Yeah.
Fiona
So-
and Drew, do either of you have any experience with temporal anomalies or, manufactured or naturally occurring?
No, do you?
With temporary what? Temp
bit.
what?
A bit.
Oh,
I don't.
Though I've only recently begun to learn a bit of the science governing it. A bit of experience, I'll just say.
no. I'm just mostly here for the adventure, for discovering something new.
That's
Hmm.
cool. Hey, if you want to try something new, actually, Skyrim 2 just finally dropped like this week.
Yeah. No, my cousins are all really into the video games. I never quite fit in with that group.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. What are their names? Dude, look, listen. I'm gonna be pro circuit esports like in no time. I just gotta get all my equipment and everything set up, you know what I'm saying? And that's, my parents were like, oh, pay rent or go do this and whatever. So I'm here, I guess.
Excuse me, Illustrated Hive Mind. Is this being? Is this simply a time movement, or is there some risk of many universes coming into play?
It is tremendously complicated. As I'm sure you know, travel through time also requires travel through space, because the Earth is not now where it was at the point when we are sending you to. In fact, the Earth has rotated, the sun has rotated around the galactic core itself has moved. And so you are millions, possibly billions of miles away from where you need to be sent, which is why it took trillions of dollars.
Drew, there is a small chance that this will be like your video game Skyrim.
Sweet.
We'll see.
No, man, Skyrim's cool. It's like, look, there's, I'm gonna be really able to like get in there and like know, where we need to go to get quests and like stuff like that. You got to make sure we don't get over encumbered, because then you can't you gotta walk real slow. You can't fast travel. It's like a whole thing.
You will know you're over encumbered when it is difficult to walk. There aren't really stats.
No. There's stats set for everything, man. Even if you can't see them.
I turn to Fiona and just like wide-eyed, exasperated.
Yeah.
Please be more sane than this person.
Well, I'm definitely excited about not only going to a different time, but a different place. So, hopefully it's a fairly, we just go and we're like, oh, nope, no sword pulled out of a stone. Ta-da, we proved it. And then, or we do see him pull the sword out of the stone and we can verify, yes, this was true. And we can bring that knowledge back. That would be certainly very
dude,
exciting.
if I could pull the sword out of the stone, I could come back and be the e-gamer. Like I would have
make you
proven
King
my
Arthur
worth.
if you pulled the sword out of the stone.
No.
Yes,
but if I bring it back,
but you would rewrite the Arthurian legend to be the Druish legend.
Yeah,
and it
so
would really throw off history.
oh, that would be so cool, dude. Oh my god, what?
Yeah, is there any concern about like butterfly effect?
The current theory is that any effect that you have in the past will affect possible future worlds, but it is highly unlikely they will have a direct effect on this one.
Has anyone raised the concern, by anyone I mean most likely your clients, that this is in fact one giant scam? Because anything we discover from this possible parallel past may not necessarily be true in our current present.
You are aware of that, and we are aware of that. Our client appears to be blissfully unaware, as are the huge deposits he makes into our accounts.
So perhaps we don't need to make him aware of that, and we can just take advantage of it to go on an adventure and discover something new.
I'm fine with that, yeah.
If you wish to continue, the changing facilities are through this door, and at the end of that hall you will find the airlock leading you to the transport room. Once you return, you will receive 50,000 new yen each, which, to put it into perspective, that's like a very nice townhouse and the brand new 7 Series Beamer to put in the front, like for one job. You're muted.
I could buy my way onto an esports team.
With all due respect, Drew, you could create your own.
Or I could just sponsor one.
That would likely be a wiser choice. Haven't been too long, but I
Hire some talent.
unsure your ability to manage such an enterprise.
Nah, dude, it'd be real cool. It'd be real cool.
I kind of in my head see you guys all but forcing Drew into one of the changing rooms. Get rid of him for a minute.
Now he's all about the like. This is like LARPing for him, right? Like,
Yep, exactly. Speaking of which, you guys step into these rooms, and the gear in front of you is pretty much what you'd expect medieval nobility. You'd notice a couple of things. These are easier to get on and off, particularly the gown for Fiona. It is not going to take you and 4 assistants 3 hours to get you in and out of this. There's kind of some Velcro patches that you can put it on. It's also got some really interesting pockets built into it in places you weren't expecting, and the whole inside, like the whole bow, it's not a Southern Belle skirt, but there is some space around it.
There's a bustle.
It's being held in shape in a way that is completely hollow underneath there, so you have complete freedom of movement, but it looks like you're wearing a proper gown. The shoes, they're a short heel because they weren't walking around the Middle Ages in a 4-inch spike in the mud. But yeah, they're reasonable. The 2 gentlemen, well, depending. The trousers are tight. There are cod pieces involved. There are very ornate jackets, and again, it all goes on like with Velcro. But you've got the big puffy shoulders and the ruff and. It's all there.
I like to think that even if he's never like worn stuff like this, that Drew is able to recall on like video game characters he's played.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's like, oh, I just like he wore it like this, and is able.
Yeah,
to kind
the
of
most mispronounced character name in all of what could be a game very similar to Skyrim wears an outfit quite like that. That's why I brought it up, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, you are basically dressed as the lead character in Skyrim 2, except without all the weaponry.
Sweet.
Because there is a decided lack of weaponry that you guys find in these rooms.
Oof.
So I'm going to let you guys decide what is the primary color of each of your ensembles.
Blue. The rarest of inks of the time.
Yes, it was sort of blues and blacks with the leather and whatnot. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Green for Fiona. Okay.
So this is important. Is I assume we all, like that Drew and Nathaniel have separate like changing rooms.
Oh yes, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So Drew also is gonna pick blue.
Okay.
Because he's.
Yep, I love it.
Or do you come out wearing?
So they come out and they're wearing matching outfits.
Yeah. And I imagine there's one on each end, like the 3 of you come out together. Fiona's in the middle, and she just kind of goes.
Yeah. And Drew's like, oh man, Blue Drew, you support Blue Drew.
That needs to fasten higher.
What?
And I'm assuming that Nathaniel is also still wearing the double gloves and the glasses.
Yes, though I fear I am going to have to remove the glasses. For this, were there any gloves provided with the outfit?
Yes. For the purposes of this, there is a pair of just sort of white dress gloves. There's not much to them. They're certainly not rubberized in any way, shape, or form. But hey, you know what? They'd fit over yours.
Oh, much better, yes.
3 pairs of gloves.
I'll have bulky fingers.
He's ready to time travel now. He is wearing 3 pairs of gloves.
That's quite fine. So yeah.
So the 3 of you step out and kind of grin at each other because, you look kind of funny. You're dressed in medieval nobility clothing. You do there are belts and strappings and whatnot, but there are no weapons, no sheaths, anything like that. Anything you'd have to pick up there. But as you step back out into the office, the sign above the door that you came in, just an arrow points at it and it opens back up. And you step back out into that rain-thrashed hallway, that glass wall in front of you, the ultimate in modernity, and you're dressed in 700-year-old clothes. Couple steps down the hall and around the corner, and you figure out right away where you're supposed to go, because instead of one of the doors, there's an airlock. And it goes poof, as you step up to it.
Well,
Okay, then.
shall we go on our quest?
I suppose. We'll go through.
Drew's gaming, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
I just got this image of this medieval noble. Boop, 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 boop,
Yeah, it's just like he's worried about how long this charge is gonna last.
Yep.
So he's
Yep.
like,
Just one more game, Mom. Just one more game before
Yeah.
we travel in time, do
Yeah.
something nobody's ever done before.
If you don't put that away, I fear you will be drowned as a witch.
it's fine.
As the only woman in the group, I do not want to be associated at all with anything witchcraft. Just for my own preservation.
Wise. Should we assemble some sort of cover story as to who we are and how we know each other?
That is an excellent idea.
Quick interruption. This is why I like playing with pros. That's first trap avoided. You guys didn't get caught with, who are you?
Perhaps we are siblings, if you'll forgive the presumptiveness, but traveling nobles may be in search of a wedding match for one of us. Whoever that be, any volunteers?
It's going to look down at Drew.
Beep, boop, beep, boop. Totally
What?
oblivious, right? Does
What's
not
up?
even a clue what to.
What's up? Oh, sorry. We're trying to get into character. Okay, hold on. And he packages the
Yeah, puts it in the coin purse. Yeah.
yeah.
If anyone asks, you're our hapless younger brother detached from reality, and we need to find you a wedding match, and we're becoming concerned.
No, dude, I'm super. What? All right. Okay, I'll get into character. Indubitably, I am Drew of. Well, we need one of those like cool names, like Drew of Nobleton, or like we need to where we got to pick where we're from.
Perhaps not. It should be a real place,
No, it's
but not
I'm leaving that up
where-
to you.
Not like London or Essex or something that people would be like, oh, don't you know
Right.
this person?
Needs to be somewhere like obscure.
I have to say, I'm not quite brushed up on the geography of the time. Sentient drawing, could you recommend a location of origin for our cover story?
There's a brief pause, and then you hear a minor baronial family seems like the best choice. Perhaps from the Welsh borderlands, so that no one has heard of you.
Oh, and that would
McGraw,
also
perhaps? Yes?
Oh, excellent. And that also would explain our accents.
Oh,
To some extent, that will be taken care of. And you get, there's a brief pause and it says, are any of you familiar with the old television show Doctor Who?
Dude, oh my gosh, yes, Peter Capaldi was like the best. Okay, everybody hated him, but like whatever, dude. Like,
For the other two of you, it has been possible, while transferring you through space and time, to impose a certain filtration, which will allow you to sound close, but not exactly like the locals. You may speak in your own voices, and you will hear as though they speak in yours, because since the great vowel shift, you would understand almost nothing of what they were saying.
oh my gosh,
is a
that's
tremendous
so
relief.
cool, dude.
All right. I'm sorry. What did you say the name of that barony was?
McGraw. Or which one of you wants to be Baron? Tim?
I was thinking it, but I was like,
So the door to the airlock is open, and you look in, and for a time traveling device, it's a bit of a letdown. It's a perfectly normal sort of white room, 8 feet wide, 16 feet long. There's some like those cheap plastic outdoor lawn chairs. There's 4 down each side, and at the far end there's another airlock, and on it there's a sign. And the sign says, "Mark the location of this door. It cannot be seen from the other side once closed." And the voice says, "If you are ready, please have a seat."
When the airlock opens, Nathaniel stops and hyperventilates for a minute. And then,
so does that mean we're gonna have to mark where it is, like in the past?
yes, it will
That's
be
the
a.
idea,
Okay.
It will appear as perfectly normal space, and if you happen to stumble through it, you'll find yourself back in this room.
I'm guessing you might have some experience with that.
As I said, I have a bit of experience with temporal anomalies.
All right. Well, we will make sure to mark that.
See future episode for backstory payoff.
I can do like some kind of check if you want me to see if I feel like Drew would have some kind of world building map making game on his phone. So I wanted to, like, if my phone works, I want to like I can like build a map.
A map maker as you're going. You know what, esports Drew, I will give you that. You have a map making function on your phone. We are going to give you, because it's a phone, we're going to give you, it's a new phone. Oh,
and it's a full
Drew.
charge. So
A challenge. It is fully charged. Here is a challenge for Drew.
iPhone 35?
If
probably
the 30, yeah.
35.2.
Yeah, they've moved the plug to the side again.
Yeah. The headphone jack is back, baby.
Drew, here is your challenge. If you game, it's only got 6 hours of life.
Oh God.
If you don't game, you can map for 48 hours.
Oh God. Okay.
Drew, please keep in mind when you are making map to include landmarks. They will not be able to automatically geolocate, as there are no signals to triangulate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the nearest geosynchronous satellite is 700 years and 4 billion miles away.
Yeah, cool. No, it'll be like, because I did some, when I was like first getting into the scene, I did some research on some old games, and there was this old game. It's called DRD or D something, and like they used to like draw maps and like do like sit around a table and talk to each other. It was really weird, but like, I got really into map building and stuff.
That game is still around.
So, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
But Drew wouldn't.
I hope so.
but
I'll
Drew
still be
wouldn't.
playing it. I just look twice this age. Oh. So, do you sit down and prepare to transport back in time?
Yeah.
Yes, I will.
The one airlock door closes. You dust off the seat and sit down. You know that feeling when you lick a 9-volt battery? That zzz on the end of your tongue? You get that, but it goes through your whole body. Just zzz, like a 9-volt jolt through your whole body. And for some reason, you smell cinnamon. Just... And then the door out, the airlock door that releases you into the past, lights up around it. And that sign lights up again. Mark the location of this door. It cannot be seen from the other side once it is closed. This door does not open by itself.
So we're in.
You're still in this little room.
Okay.
You can't see out in any way, shape, or form. Okay. You've been told that through that door is the past. Merlin's England.
And Drew's like, real quick before we get out, over under on, is it smaller on the inside or bigger on the inside?
You're not going to see it from the outside.
Oh, damn.
It's best to just observe. And I will walk to the door.
You open the door. And you see, first things first, sunshine. Bright sunshine. A couple big fluffy clouds. You've been in Vancouver for a while in the 21st century, and it has rained almost the whole time you were there. You realize it has been days since you've seen the sun. And you may have never seen it like this. This is pale blue skies, no city in the way, no smoke, nothing. It's stunning. There's plants, there's animals, there's small fields separated by rock walls. And you know that this gets done by picking all the rocks out of the field so that the plow doesn't break on them, and you just pile them around the patch that you're big enough to farm. And that's how big your farm is. There's all these tiny little fields with these tiny little huts, 1 or 2 sheep, 1 or 2 goats. There's a few people plowing fields. It is spring here, it appears. And almost all of them are people powered. It's like 3 people pulling the plow, not an ox. But there's quite a few of them around. You actually find yourselves in a crabapple orchard. So there's that smell too, that wonderful tart smell. This is the least city-like place any of you have probably ever been. And as you sort of turn back for a second to close that door behind you, you see that there's a sign on the outside of it too. And that sign says, "Through this hatch lies your homes and your families. Make sure nothing and no one goes through here that shouldn't."
Nathaniel starts to draw out a circle in front of the doorway and starts to put markings in that, and then he remembers and wipes it all out of the way.
Okay.
Old habits.
Drew's gonna try to discreetly like map build on his phone.
Yep. You start mapping from
but like,
one
I feel
edge
like
as this place, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he like hides somewhere so that no one can see him pulling his phone out.
Give me and Fiona? Yeah.
I was going to go and grab a couple of the rocks off of one of those things and kind of place them kind of where the door is.
Right. Make a little a noticeable but not obvious way to find this idea. Yeah, perfect.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Let's have the first roll of the game. Drew, give me a reason roll to start figuring out which way is north.
Okay. It's
Because you
only
can't map unless you know where north is.
it's only 50 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
That's sooner than we usually.
I
do
know,
first
right?
roll.
So it's the roll versus target number, right? No, yeah.
Yes. Yep. Roll versus target number. It's not that difficult. Have a target number of 4. So while you do that, this game is based on D6s. You can roll 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 D6s depending on your skill
Hey.
level, and higher rolls are better. They're either beating a target number or trying to roll 6s. In this case, as the nice tower on the side here tells us, you got a success. You figured out which way north is. Incorrectly, but as it turned, or in a false fashion, but as it turns out correctly, you remember from a game that moss only grows on the north side of trees. And even though that's wrong,
Right.
you actually found a tree that has moss growing on the north side of it, luckily enough. So you now know where north is, so you can start your.
I'm convinced. I don't know what it is. I don't, we can figure it, but I'm convinced that now whatever else is in that game is 100% true.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you guys see this patchwork of farms around in front of you. As you step out of the orchard, there's a hill rising beyond that, and on the top of that hill is a very traditional Mott and Bailey castle. What that is a hill that's been built, and on top of it there's a stone tower, and that's the only stone structure in this entire area. There's a wooden palisade around the bottom, and inside that, all the important buildings. So you know from, not from seeing this because you're at the bottom of the hill looking up, but most of you would at least know from history classes or games that the important buildings like churches and stables are all inside.
Well,
So-
shall we go find a local and find out where this sword in the stone is?
Yes. I don't know if it would be inappropriate for us to approach directly to the castle, being only from a barony.
I mean,
but suppose it's the
usually,
best
right?
chance.
Usually you like go to an inn or a tavern or something, and then like you talk to somebody and they give you like the quest, and then you go. So like, maybe that's
It also might be, we're nobles. We should go like let the other nobles know that we're here to kind of announce our presence.
I believe even whatever public house or tavern exists is likely within those walls.
See,
Let's go get our brother
see-
a date.
Would it be suspicious that we would be traveling unarmed? Do you suppose?
give
asking
me
my
a
party-
reason
my fellow
check.
party members. Oh, okay. I can do
Yeah.
that too. A
To
reason
see if you
check.
would know. But
I
yeah,
have.
you can ask them, but let's
Okay.
see what you would know. And anybody, if you guys want to know, make reason checks yourself or
So
come
we're
up with a
rolling-
reason why you would know.
What's the target here?
Let's make it a 4. Make it relatively easy again.
All right. I've got 3 dice to roll against a 4. Have a success.
Come on, roll 20. There it is. 2 successes. Okay, so you quickly determine this level of building, this keep. This is not high-level royalty. This is not a castle by any stretch of the imagination. You probably, the way you're dressed, you are probably of similar, maybe slightly lower status than the person who runs this place. It's probably run by a full-blown baron, whereas you're dressed sort of baron light, sort of baronets. Yeah. But it would be far more appropriate socially to just walk up to the front gates than to start chatting with the peasants. But being without weapons is a bit strange, but your royalty, or nobility, certainly none of the peasants are going to say anything.
Okay. Well, we could use the story that our guard is tending to the horses, but depending on how long we're here, if that guard never materializes, that may draw further suspicion. Oh, Fiona, you're muted.
Perhaps we left our guard with the cart that broke down, and then, you know, if he doesn't turn up, oh no, somebody attacked.
I like that. That's very, very thorough.
And I assume you're sort of walking and talking as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Drew's like,
As
man,
you
I
do-
like you guys. You guys are like getting into character. Like it's doing the whole thing. It's so cool.
You guys look, and even as he's walking along, Drew's thumbs, he probably doesn't even notice, but his arms are by his side as he's walking, but his thumbs are just doing
Oh
this
no.
all the time.
Just phantom gaming.
He's phantom gaming big time. Yeah.
I imagine it's like
Yes.
moving in the direction that he's moving.
Yeah. You notice his left hand. It's like he's controlling it.
He's
Wait a
like-
minute. Does he? Oh wow! I wonder what happens. You just want to push his thumb to see what happens when you press L3.
Oh
Does he
god.
jump? Does he jump?
Is that the jump button?
Anyway, you guys, as you get closer to this palisade, you notice parts of it are being repaired. It looks like it's been attacked fairly recently with possibly catapults. A couple of the wooden pillars have been broken, and those are being replaced as we speak. There's also some signs of fire here and there around the edges of the keep. So definite signs of conflict as you
Yes.
approach.
As
you pass by the locals, any of them that see you just immediately just like bowing and scraping hats off. If you get relatively close, they start ma'am and lady and my and sir and the whole bit. Full grovel mode.
Kind of missed that.
This is
You there, sir? Is there a smith outside of the keep that sells armaments?
Yes, sir. Round the back, sir. Yes, sir. Round by the water wheel, sir. And as he points it out, you can see sort of around the corner of the hill, there's a river and there's a water wheel and there's a small industrial area there. That's where there is smoke.
Okay. And then as we get out of earshot of them,
You're needing a dagger, sir. Is that what you're needing? And he pulls out this half rusty little 4-inch blade with a bone handle that's clearly homemade.
I was in search of something more like a rapier.
Of course, sir. Of course, sir. Not good enough, sir. Not good enough for sir. Absolutely, sir.
And I continue walking.
And just walk away. And he's just groveling backwards back out into the field.
Once we
Imagine Monty Python peasants. Like, you're the only 3 that aren't covered in shit. Right?
Once we get out of earshot, I'll turn to
Yep.
Fiona. Do you have any experience with swordsmanship? I don't even bother asking Drew.
Yeah.
No, I
Any
don't.
sort of handheld weaponry?
No.
Okay. If you don't
Dude,
mind
look in VR, like, because in the VR video games in this world, it's like
Oh, yeah.
you do it, right? Like you.
Yeah. There is, in this world, there would be a version of esports. It's not the version I see Drew being part of, but there would be a version where you are physically in the game VRing and having to leap about if your character leaps about.
weapons
Okay.
have
Not-
weight and
yeah.
stuff.
Not a thumb monkey.
I like
but
to
an
think that he's
actual, like,
played
yeah.
them, but he's not
Yeah.
like good at them, but he has
He's
played
even
them.
worse at those than he is at the things he
Yeah.
thinks he's
So
good
he's
at.
like, yeah, no, like I have a little bit of experience with like the stuff or whatever, but no, you guys, you do you. It's fine. You do.
How large of a hammer can you lift? Can you lift a 9-pound hammer and swing it
How-
effectively?
How heavy is 9 pounds?
Gallon
Is that
of
like
milk?
is that like a PlayStation? Is that like a
It's,
like,
it's
is that-
about like a gallon of milk. Have you ever purchased food?
2
I-
liter?
I'll be honest. How many Monster Energy drinks would that be?
This is besides the point. Back to Fiona. If you wouldn't mind a slight detour, I would be more comfortable with some sort of armament.
Oh, certainly. Do we have money?
Did they give us money?
We have cachet.
Our nobles. Yeah.
And I will set. I'm kind of shooting that I think there's some similarities to some culture I'm accustomed to.
Yep.
So, yeah, when we get around back, I will.
So yes, you
Step
get
in
to
and-
the blacksmith.
Politely wait for the blacksmith to stop whatever they're doing and
Oh, sir. Yes. How can I help you today, sir?
we are visiting dignitaries from the barony of McGraw. Our guard is tending to our cart, which seems to have broken on some of the less maintained roads. I need to acquire a rapier if possible, and when our guard joins us, they will certainly compensate you handsomely.
A sword for the lady then, sir.
I prefer.
You look around
the
and
finesse
everybody
weapon.
around here is like, they're chainmail and broadswords and yeah.
No, a dignified weapon, sir.
Oh, right, sir. Pardon me overstepping. Sir. Actually, one moment, sir. I think I've got exactly what you're looking for. And he buggers off into the back, and he comes back out with this box. It's almost 4 feet long. It is ornately carved from a single piece of wood. And there's these little wooden hinges down one side, like wooden hinges carved down one side. And he clicks the 2 little things and opens it up. And inside is this stunning rapier. It is almost flat. The blade is so fine when he lifts it up, there's a bit of a delay as it comes out of the felt. The hilt it's all silvered, but it's also got mother of pearl inlays on every one of those basket grips around the handle, and there's a pearl the size of your thumb on the end of the pommel. Next to it is the matching pewter sheath.
I suppose this could serve as a suitable replacement. Yes, I very much appreciate that. When the guards from the barony of McGraw present themselves, simply let them know what the cost is, and they will compensate you.
Oh, there's no charge, sir. Not for likes of you.
I'm going to pick it up
Yeah.
and give it kind of a wobble to see if this is actually a combat-ready weapon.
It is exceptional. It balances about 3 inches in front of your hand, so when you get the tip at the right height, it just disappears. And you just look at the tip, and you just go, and it's so perfectly balanced. This reminds you of, well, you've probably had fencing lessons. Yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Exactly what I was hoping for. Okay.
So,
yes, I will go ahead and fit the scabbard into my belt and use the sword before we go to the
sword.
games.
Yeah.
Playing
Anybody
into
else want anything from here?
playing
Yeah.
into the little brother thing, Drew comes up and he kind of because you said Fiona's tall, right?
Yeah.
So he comes up and he kind of tugs on her, tugs on her shirt. He says, "Hey, can I have a dagger?"
I think, yeah, we can, perhaps a dagger for
I'd be like an assassin.
my overexcited brother.
The blacksmith, Fiona, gives you a large exaggerated wink on the side away from Drew. I think I might have a better idea. How about a magic hammer? And he just reaches underneath the counter and pulls out just a perfectly regular small blacksmith's hammer.
Drew holds his hands out and he's like
makes a big deal out of presenting it to you. Now you be careful with that, young feller.
He's like, what does it do?
The last person what wielded that killed a dragon with it, he did.
And Drew's like looking at it and he's
exaggerated wink over at Fiona.
He's like, it's so weird. He's like, it doesn't have the glow. Like, it doesn't glow like magic.
I feel like Nathaniel did not catch the winks, and so
Yep.
he is growingly concerned that we have undergone a plane shift. Very
Well, you seem like an expert in weapons. Have you heard of any swords in stone?
You mean other than the bloody great one by the church, miss? I mean, my lady.
Exactly. Just wondering if there were any others around other than that one.
Just the one. I have a question, though. How come no one ever mentions the anvil?
The anvil?
Beg pardon?
There's an anvil. The sword goes through the anvil and into the stone.
That certainly complicates the extraction.
Well, if it were easy, sir, it had been done 3 months ago, wouldn't it?
I suppose so. Was it placed there as early as 3 months ago?
Christmas Eve it were, sir. Like a miracle from on high it were. Christmas morning we woke up and there it were in the yard.
Well, we've been traveling.
Black and all.
Well, we've been traveling nearly as long, so news had not reached us of all of the details. We certainly heard rumors along the way. Speaking of which, there were rumors of a siege upon the keep here. Do you know the state of the local noble family? We have come in hopes of finding a suitable bride for our brother here.
Oh, well, you're doing a fine thing there, sir.
And as he says that, cut to Drew, who is in the corner of the room, spinning in circles, like whoosh, whoosh, like
thinking he's nailing it. But if there were video of this, he would be
in
going
his
viral
mind.
for
He's
all
trying
the
to
wrong
attune
reasons.
to it.
Yeah.
He's trying to attune to it, right? He's like, oh, like,
yeah. I love it. To answer Nathaniel's question, he says, well, Baron Tregathan up in the fort there, he's our lord, a fairly good one by the way things go. But he does have a bit of a fight going on with the Trondheims down the valley.
No casualties within the family as of yet, though?
No, sir, just peasants.
And just in case our information is outdated, how many children does he have?
The Baron himself? He's got 3. All quite young still.
All right. Unspoken for, then, perhaps?
I believe so, sir. Yeah, not my place to say.
But there is at least one daughter and one son amongst them?
There is at least one of each, sir. Wouldn't want to say more. There's also all the other nobles up there too, sir. The baronets and whatnot, you know.
I don't want to sound foolish at the gates. One of the Baron's sons, Arthur, perhaps, is that correct?
Well, sir, it wouldn't bear saying from the likes of me, but that would be the name of the Baron himself.
Right.
Baron Arthur Tregathan, sir, but don't tell him I said his first name. That would be overly friendly on my part.
Oh, of course not, and I shan't use it in his presence, and I'll trust your discretion this questioning as well.
And if you get up there, sir, do make sure you be nice to him and his friends.
Of course. We wish nothing but good relations with everyone.
Well, especially that one feller, old feller in the robes. Don't mess with him. He breathes fire, that one.
Is this something you've witnessed?
I seen him walk into a room, and just before we walked in, a great cloud of smoke done preceded him in.
Oh. This wouldn't happen to be Merlin, would it?
That's what he calls himself, miss. Pardon me, my lady.
At this point, Nathaniel there's a smile of it. He's like, "Oh, okay, familiar territory. Never mind. No longer concerned about dragons. I know what's going on here."
Yeah, Drew's like, oh man, and he shinks around with the hammer, and he's like, I
Yep.
can take him if he causes problems.
Well,
Drew, one of the assistants, one of the apprentices, comes up to you and kind of, whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, did my magic get you?
Don't go swinging that around like you know what you're doing. You'll end up in the next raiding party, you idiot.
I'm attuning to it. Sorry. I'm attuning to it. You know, you got to familiarize yourself with your weapons.
That's a hammer.
It's a magic hammer. Shh. I don't know if I was supposed to tell you that though.
Okay. Yep. Okay. And he just turns and starts to walk away. Just leaves you standing there.
well,
So,
thank you, sir, for your hospitality. I suppose we should probably get going. I'll look over at Fiona, unless my sister has any more questions.
No, I don't think so. I think it's best that we go present ourselves to the local family.
so you make your way around to the gates, and okay, yeah. You make your way around to the front gates of the keep, and there, the palisaded fort. But the gates at the front are quite severe for this. The rest of it's just wooden logs. They've built sort of two little defensible positions on the top of this door. It has clearly been attacked on repeatedly, and they're being very careful not to get invaded. But as you arrive at the door, you are stopped by one of the guards who does that thing where he obsequiously bows, but also very carefully drops his pike across the road so you're not going forward. I'll need to announce you.
Yes, of course. Drew, put the hammer in your belt. We are the children of Baron Timothy McGraw. I couldn't resist.
Yep.
I do not know for certain if our arrival was foretold, but we come searching for potential marriage partner to align our baronies.
Ah, yes. Right. And he turns around and whispers something to one of his assistants, who runs up this little ladder and over the fence. And on the other side of the doors, you hear the heavy sound of somebody moving a wooden bar to open the gate. And as that gate starts to open, you hear the voice inside, announcing the Baronets and Baroness McGraw from House McGraw. And the doors open, and the three of you are standing in the entrance.
All right. I will walk on in.
Yeah.
As you step in, immediately to your left is the stables. Big building, probably room for 30 or 40 horses. And in here, there are 2 or 3 true destriers, like true war horses. But for the vast majority, these horses are pretty scruffy looking. In fact, this whole place is pretty scruffy looking. Behind the stables, there's sort of an area of artisans and workers and things like that. Off to the right-hand side, there's a small market square. And beyond that, a couple of guard houses you can see guards coming in and out of. Directly ahead of you is the church and the manor house. They're about of equal stature. And then right in front, right between the church and the house, sitting there with no one paying the slightest attention to it, is a stone about 6 feet across, half buried in the ground, on top of which is a simple iron anvil, sticking out of which is a longsword. There's a path that leads up to it. Obviously, hundreds of people have walked up to this sword. And you can see on the side of the anvil, there's a plaque. Other than people quickly looking in, the gentleman that lets you inside looks and says, you'll find just to the right of the manor house our guest lodgings. I believe you'll find them suitable for your rank. And there's that sort of obsequious bow, but he keeps his eyes up like he's paying attention to you. Like this is your handler.
Nice.
Right.
Very good. And when might it be possible to have an audience with the Baron?
Do you have an appointment?
Unfortunately, I do not believe we do. Our retinue is...
It's mostly a formality, sir. This afternoon, probably.
That would be fantastic if you could make the arrangements and let us know.
Arrangements is a strong word, sir. Suffice it to say, the party starts approximately mid-afternoon on the main floor of the manor house, and the front door is always open, sir.
Oh.
And later.
Drew perks up at the word party.
Is this
sir.
party recurring?
A daily event, sir.
Hmm.
Royal privilege and all, sir.
Hmm.
Oh, and I forgot to mention,
Frivolous.
behind all of
Most
that, there's the motte with the hill with the motte on top above that.
Just to keep up appearances, I turn
Yeah.
to Fiona. Frivolous. Concerning.
Are any of you here to try the sword? Only there's not much foofra anymore. You just sort of go up and try.
I wouldn't mind taking a look at it, but I'm
Drew stands up just taller than you, straighter than you've ever seen him stand.
Yeah.
I imagine Fiona just kind of puts a hand on Drew's.
Yeah.
But no, we're not quite interested in trying it. And like giving Drew
There's
like,
only one way to find out. So what happens when you try?
He answers you, but he's looking at Fiona when he answers, and he says, "If you can draw it out, you're the king." He's looking at like Fiona's fairly like she looks like she might be able to pull this sword out, and he's trying to figure out exactly what you would call a female king. Like he's trying to process.
The king of what precisely?
Of all the Britons, sir.
I don't believe
249 baronies at last count, sir.
I don't believe I've heard any news of such an agreement being struck. But
I bet. Is it magic?
It's rather come from above, one assumes, sir. And he...
yes.
I don't even know if they did at 493 AD, but yeah, he did. Yeah.
Very well. Yeah, a closer look would be most interesting.
All right.
Yeah, as we're walking over to the sword, Fiona just kind of leans into Drew and is just like, butterflies. We don't need to change things.
So, I mean, so then are we done? Because it's there.
But somebody has to pull it out.
Legitimately.
If I
But
pull it out, it's
not us.
legitimate.
Well, I suppose if one of us pulls it out, we disprove Arthur because Arthur didn't pull it out. But then we would just disappear and there would be no king.
Well, I suspect that if this Arthur is the Arthur of legend, and someone does in fact remove the sword, then he's simply going to take credit. So, who removes it may be irrelevant?
Or I wonder if he's even tried it.
Perhaps.
I wonder if
As
I can
you say
try it
this-
out with my common magic
Like
item.
you're almost there, right? I
hammer.
can just see Drew's like, I'm going.
Because it's got the crowbar on the one
yeah.
end, right?
Yeah. You, as you approach, you see a priest in full regalia come out of the church. He is also not covered in feces because when it's the church member, it's not even shit that's feces. He walks across to the stone and attaches a parchment just below where the plaque was. So there's now a plaque and then now a parchment attached to it.
Oh.
Definitely want to find out what that says.
And Drew's like, oh, a new quest marker. We activated the next quest. And then Drew walks up. Drew walks up to read whatever
Yep.
it says.
So you walk up and
Pardon me.
what did the other two do? That's a good question, actually.
Yeah, Fiona's walking up to look at the parchment and the plaque.
Yeah, so is Drew.
Okay.
And
I'm going
keep an eye
to
on it.
intercept the priest.
Okay, on the way back to the church?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so we'll do the stone first. You guys step up, and again, like this is a huge stone with and when I say anvil, I don't mean Wile E. Coyote, Acme stamped on the side with the pointy end and the other. It's just a big block of metal that's flat on top for pounding steel on. And the sword goes through it. That's about maybe 6-8 inches thick. The sword goes through that and into the stone. You know, from a typical longsword, there's probably 3 feet of blade that's in the anvil / stone and maybe sort of 18 inches plus the handle sticking out. Very traditional looking longsword. On the plaque, it says, "Whoso pulleth out this sword of this stone and anvil is rightwise king born." Which is actually a quote from Mallory for all of my English students out there. That's right from Le Mort d'Arthur. That's where the anvil idea came from. And then below it, there's a piece of paper, and it says, "Being that this heaven-sent miracle didst arrive one day before the holiest of days, Christmas, and being that tomorrow marks the passing of 3 months from that day, the Baron Tregathan has chosen this propitious moment to draw the sword from its strong embrace. If it is God's will, he will succeed. The church blesses his endeavor. This momentous moment will commence after Mass," which is about 11 a.m. our time. That's what you guys see. Can you both make me either reason or intuition?
Well, those are both the same for me, so. What's the target number?
This is a 5. This is quite difficult. That's a success, and that's a success. So, Desperate Drew, you know that this is obviously this is where you put a trap, like every game ever, right? So you start poking around. Fiona watching Drew poke around and trying to keep him. You're thinking like, oh my God, he's going to hit this with his hammer or something. He's going to do something stupid. You're watching him really intently. And the both of you kind of at the same time realize that at the bottom of this rock where it goes into the ground, there's a spot on one side where a bit of dirt's been worn away, where people were standing. And you can see like a wooden trough with a rope in it. And that rope seems to go into the rock.
Interesting.
So is
Quick jump over to the priest. You catch him just before he gets back in the church.
Excuse me, Father.
Son.
And I will give a slight bow because I'm unsure if crossing yourself is around in this day. Excuse me, Father. We've recently arrived to town, and I was hoping that you could, without, of course, committing any impropriety, give your opinions on this magician that is rumored to have allied with the Baron.
By the time you get to that point and you're opening your mouth for the next inevitable question from Nathaniel, the priest just turns his head and spits.
Suspected as much. Devilish works, then.
Sir of the black arts.
And
he holds great sway over the Baron.
Outside of his unholy influence, have you noticed any sort of, or have you been witness to any exertion of devilish powers?
And he grabs his symbol of office. Indeed, on several and varied occasions. He has the ability to make people do what he tells them to do simply by telling them to do it. I watched him make a man walk off the palisade simply for insulting his duck.
Most troubling indeed. What about physical manifestations of the power? Have you seen him wield brimstone in concerning ways?
It is said that he can spit fire, but I have not seen this for myself.
Well,
he is, I believe, and you can see his hand is all but white now. He's squeezing his holy symbol so hard. I believe he is mostly bluster and show. But there is certainly something behind it. He is capable of at least great mischief.
At this point, I will lean in a little bit closer. Not too close.
Yep.
Father, I must confide in you. I have some history of working with the church to uncover such unholy uses of power. Any more information that may be helpful, if you could please discreetly have that information passed to me, it would be most helpful.
I can't help myself. I wasn't expecting you at all.
No one.
But I will. No one expects. Yes, he says to you, I appreciate the offer of assistance. You are not what I would have expected as an agent of the church, but strange ways and all.
Well, yes, the situation has been escalated.
Indeed. Anything you can do to get rid of that stain on my diocese would be greatly appreciated.
We will do our best. I won't keep you any longer.
So standing back at the stone, trying to figure out what this string, this rope in the dirt means, you look around and right now it's too busy. There's too many people out here. But the sign says the Baron's not going to draw this until tomorrow, after Mass. So, this has gone a little longer than I thought it was going to. This has taken quite a while to get into, but we are going to take a little break right now. We are an hour and a half in.
We're playing with.
I know.
To be fair, you did know what you were getting yourself into.
And I am not complaining at all. We are still very much on schedule. But let's take a break. Shall we do the full break? We might as well. It's been an hour and a half, right? We're at our regular break time. So yeah, let's take the full 20. Yeah, 15. Sorry, our new break.
Yeah,
yes,
we switched
new break.
it, yeah.
We'll come back in 15 minutes, and we will see you then. Thanks very much. All right, that was a break, and this is no longer a break, so we must be back. Speaking of back, these wonderful people that are helping me tell this story tonight, this is the moment where we get to sort of pay them back for all they're putting up with my foolishness by letting them tell us what they do elsewhere and else when. So, Dawn, we'll just start with you. What do you do when you're not here with us?
When I'm not playing over here or running stuff or playing Key 3, you can find me at Roll for Initiative on YouTube. I make videos with my partner Ryan all about tabletop RPGs, miniature painting, board games, and all of our geeky hobbies.
Nice. And Sarah, you've got a online presence. We always get you to talk about all the stuff, the Mercs of Mischief stuff. I'm gonna talk about your stuff for once. What have you been doing recently?
Well, I still mostly just this. I do have a YouTube channel. There's some videos out, and I'm Nerd Narrative on Twitter. You can find me there. Nerd Narrative on YouTube. Nerd Narrative on TikTok. Nerd Narrative on. It's pretty much Nerd Narrative. Across any social media that I was able to get that name.
Right.
But mostly I'm the production manager for the channel here, and I edit mostly the Hero Factory episodes, of which there will be a new
What's
one
coming up
this week on Wednesday, where we make it's a twofer. We make Alice and Jet.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So be sure to check that out.
And that leaves us our producer, director, editor, organizer, Rolda, GM, and various other hats. Underneath all the hats.
You missed a great opportunity to say all Rolda into one.
Oh, that's, well, at least you got there. Somebody did. And it was Drew. So how does that work out? Yes. But yes, Jonathan, I know you don't have any time when you're not doing this. So why don't you tell us about some of this that you're doing?
I'm always here, even when you think I'm not. We've got all kinds of stuff coming up. Like Kevin mentioned at the top of the game. Tomorrow we have Table Flip with our very own Noctum Sky running a very special game for some very special DMs you may have heard of. CJ from Don't Stop Thinking and his new channel Cool History Bros over on YouTube. We've got Lonnie from All Things D&D. We've got Ryan, who you should know from this channel. If you were here last week, you caught the second part of Tales from the Loop. By the way, great show. Check those out over on YouTube. And both episodes are up. And Mandari, who is she is in that tomorrow, right? Am I?
No,
she's running things a week from tomorrow.
From
Steph
Madbird, from Madbird Streams.
Mandari is the next week.
And then the following week, Mandari is going to be a guest GM. And off the top of my head, I can't remember who's in that. But if you follow along with us in Discord and over on Twitter at Avalon Knights, you will stay updated on all of those things.
All up to date, and check the Discord as well. We're always very active and very informative over there as well. I guess that leaves me over on Dirty 20 Gaming Thursdays. I play a real character-driven story with absolutely no plot because we're making it all up on the fly of Ironsworn co-op mode. And then to relieve the tensions, every Friday I do Fun Shot Fridays over there with a bunch of nearly random people that I have met, mostly from here. And we play silly one-shots. And as of last Friday, I think I killed 19 people in one 90-minute episode. It was magnificent, and everybody had a great amount of fun. We played Force Patrollers. Some of them died 5 times. It was magnificent. And then very much looking forward to next month when we get our puck back and we get to go back to business as abnormal. I'm really looking forward to that. But after all of that, we should get back to this. In this central courtyard of this palisade, the three of you are sort of standing around, Nathaniel having just talked to the priest, the other two of you having just discovered something odd about this rock. And off to one side in that sort of market area, there's some raised voices. There's an argument starting. And as you look over, there's 2 traders, and they're right up in each other's, like doing the chest bump thing with each other and the finger in the face. From what you can hear, and they're yelling, one of them's from here, and one of them is from a different location, but is here trading. And they're arguing over pricing.
So where is this happening? Like in the middle of the...
Off to your right. So you guys are sort of in the middle of this open space, and then off to the right is the market area. Okay. And as you look over, a couple of, like, their assistants start to come in. This is about to, like, this is like a 4-on-4 about to scrum up and go here. And then this young man steps forward, just dressed in... I mean, he's not a peasant, but he's certainly not dressed as well as you guys are. He would probably give off the impression that he's sort of a youngest son of some not very noble, or maybe even a businessman's son or something like that. But he just steps right into the middle of it. No, lads. Enough of that. I know you're Trondheim, and I know you're Tregathan. I get it. But let's face it, lads. We're all Brits at heart. Come on, let me buy you a drink. And he just completely defuses the situation. And in a couple of seconds, there's drinks getting handed around, and they're all buddies and friends.
That was, that was, I thought that was going to be a side quest, but then, like, they threw the switch on me, and that was a cool cutscene, though. Like, I really like that. But, like, do you think... Anyway,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That was weird.
So, Nathaniel, you come back, and the two of them are standing at the rock.
So there's an interesting, and I'm like pointing down at the rope thing that I think we should maybe check out when there aren't as many people around. Like trying to be subtly pointing.
Yeah.
And Drew's like he stretches, and he like
trying to be subtle, and Drew's just like
he dabs, and he's like pointing at it, and he's like, dude, and like it's just for a second, and then he comes back.
Oh, good, we've introduced dabbing to.
Yep. That's the end of the world as we know it.
Is there anything extra
Give me
that I could notice?
I've been kind of waiting for this. Give me a reason check from Nathaniel. Let's do target number, because it's been showed to you. Give me 4. It's not about finding it. This is about figuring out what it is. 1 success. That'll do. This, you can see it comes out, and you start looking around, and if it goes in a straight, it looks like there's a channel been built of wood, and this rope is running in it, so that you could draw the rope with no friction. You line, sort of, where would it go then? You sort of line it up. It goes right between the church and the manor house. There's not much of a space there, but it goes, if this goes in a straight line, it goes right between those two buildings. You kind of kick the rock with your toe, and it's right down at the bottom there. It sounds hollow.
You know, there's an author that I particularly enjoy who has a maybe applicable quote of any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Perhaps that might explain our Merlin.
I was gonna say that, but I was gonna say that it's like Wizard of Oz. Remember that old movie?
Is there anyone around? Like,
just ignoring Drew. Sorry, what was that?
Is there anyone around in earshot at the moment?
There's a couple. Most of them are over in the market area. There's 1 or 2 peasants walking around. They are nobody in here is paying attention to you in that way that you don't look at the rich in this world, right? You're given your privacy. I even said it that way because it sounds better.
Yes, I assume that this is all stage magic from what I've heard described. I spoke briefly with the priest. He, of course, believes that this Merlin character is some sort of demonic operator. I'm unsure. The one thing that does seem concerning is the way he has described the influence that Merlin can have over whomever he pleases, apparently. Everything else can be easily explained away with chemistry and physics.
So it's like Wizard of Oz, where the man behind the curtain, the old movie, like.
So wait, do you think that there is an element of magic to him?
Well, it's hard to say.
What if he has a hammer like mine?
If we are in a different manifestation of Earth, it's possible that certain rules and laws of the natural world slightly differ. However, this interesting detail that you noticed, and I'll kind of direct my gaze to where it's leading, may lead us to who is pulling the strings of tomorrow's demonstration.
Ah, okay.
Drew says the quest has been updated.
Indeed.
Quest? You're on a quest? And you turn around and the young fellow that that stopped the fight is kind of stumbling towards you with two pints in each hand.
Drew says, yes, I'm on a quest to find a wife.
All right, well, take one of these. It'll help. And he hands you an ale, and he holds another one out to Nathaniel. You guys aren't from here, are you?
Drew takes it, I guess.
And one to Fiona. He's sorry, miss, I've only got beer.
That is acceptable.
Cheers.
Yes, but not
Like he's really impressed. Cheers. He gives you the clink. So yeah, you guys aren't from here, right?
No, we are visiting from the Welsh Islands. Is it islands? I don't know geography.
It isn't, and you're not.
Series of islands? Okay. Oh, this is
That's him, yeah.
That was, okay.
I can kind of tell when people are lying.
And where did you acquire this skill?
I just kind of always had it.
I'm sorry, we haven't been formally introduced. I'm Lady Fiona.
Lady Fiona, nice to meet you. I'm the Baronet Artie Pendergrass. Nice to meet you. And he bends over and does the ceremonial almost kiss on the back of the hand, like the proper one where he doesn't make contact. It's all respect. Yeah.
And I am
Artie Pendergrass, at your service.
Baronet Pendergrass. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, and I'll give a formal bow. I am...
Oh, actually, I owe you one of those too. And he bows back the same depth.
I am Baronet Nathaniel McGraw, and this is our
Hey, what's up? I'm Drew.
youngest brother, Drew.
He looks over at Drew and I saw you did and he does this and he spills his beer all over the front of himself in the process of doing
you can't do that with your beard, man. Oh, that's rough.
What was I really like that.
No, it's just it's a thing we do.
It's just like
in the land in our family. Yeah, right. It's a way of like sending your like cosmic energy or whatever to out of you, right? If you're feeling sad, you just send it out of you.
Butterflies.
Can you
everywhere.
imagine a whole army doing that? And he's just glazed over.
I trust you will be
don't-
discreet
Yeah,
about
you
your
can't.
suspicions.
And also
Oh.
with the cosmic energy thing, man, you can't spread it around, right? Because it's like if too many people know that, it could be dangerous.
Didn't I just tell you that I can tell when you're lying?
I honestly wasn't listening.
That's probably.
See, that's the truth.
We're just here to meet the Baron and see him.
Uh-huh. And for the thing tomorrow? He kind of points at the stone.
Exactly. I am very intrigued by this whole setup.
Yes, we are hoping to travel discreetly, though we have been sent by certain individuals who would like to know more about the situation with the blade and the rock.
I feel like you should have been going like this the whole time you said that, and I still don't get it.
Well, as you said, there's no point in deceiving you, so I have opted to be vague.
Okay.
Okay. What do you know of the magician?
Oh, Merlin?
Yes.
Come here. And he kind of takes you over into a little space between a couple of the booths. He's only a little tiny bit of a magician. He's got like one trick.
With your incredible powers of perception, were you able to figure out what that trick is?
He can make people do stuff just by talking to them. Like, he can't make them hurt themselves. Well, that's not true either, because he made that guy walk off the path. Yeah, just don't let him talk to you. That's all I'm saying. But everything else is in his pockets.
I suspected as much. Do you have any suspicions as to how he gained this power of influence?
I don't really know. He just kind of showed up one day and walked into one of the Baron's parties and never left.
Well, I suppose if he's good at talking to people and getting them to do what he wants, he may have just talked his way in.
Into control. It's not the same as it used to be around here. Used to be pretty nice. Now we're fighting all the time, and you saw a couple minutes ago, they can't even be nice to each other in here.
Interesting. And the conflict seems to have largely started after Merlin's arrival?
Well, I mean, it wasn't all peace and quiet before, but yeah, it's gotten way worse.
And about how long ago was that?
Be like November, maybe?
So, like, right before the sword?
Like a month. You don't...
No, I don't.
I do.
Thank you very much for your help. Are you... Are you planning to attend the party later?
I'm not going to the party, no. No, I'm
What?
going to be here tomorrow, though, when that idiot tries to pull the thing out of the stone.
Yeah, what happened? Like, so if I was like, hey, I want to try to pull this, is it like a whole thing, or can I just do it right now? Does anybody have to be notified that you want to do it?
He just gestures to it. Some people make a big fuss. I'm sure there'll be a big speech tomorrow and everything, but lots of people just come in and try.
Okay.
I don't see any harm in letting him pull to Fiona. I don't see any harm in letting him pull on the sword. I'm sure it'll be quite uneventful.
And now I feel that way now. I did not initially.
Oh no, I appreciate your caution.
So, they said you could do it.
The second that they kind of give him the okay, he's on that sword.
Yep. So tell me, I want to know. Like this rock sticks like 3 feet out of the ground. Then there's this foot thick anvil on top, and then the sword sticking through it. What happens when Drew walks up? Exactly how does he go about trying to pull the sword out of the stone?
So because based on the rope thing, he's pretty sure that it's not going to work. So basically, all he's trying to do is see if it feels like there's a rope pulling on it.
Okay, fair enough.
But in doing that, he's obviously gonna make a big a show out of it, and he's gonna crouch and get under it, and then try to stand up and and,
all right.
Push it up.
So
I'll sort of wander over to kind of where those buildings meet and see if I can see like the rope set in the groove there, and if I can see it tensioning up.
You see it move. Okay. So give me a power to try and see if you can, maybe you physically pull out and become king. It's possible.
This is the
no, it isn't.
This is the target number, right?
Yes, roll versus target number, and your target number is 6.
Yeah, that's fine.
I wish I was playing a more mischievous character right now, because I would just cut
I know. I want to cut the rope so bad, but Drew's not trying to mess up the plan.
Yep.
Nope.
Perfect. Yeah. And there is no give at all. It's not like you're it pulls and then snags.
Right.
There's zero movement.
Okay.
To the point where you start to look is the anvil and the sword one piece?
See, that's what I was thinking.
So now give me a reason check. Okay. And difficulty on this is going to be 5. It's still quite a thing. You figured out it's not just a rope. You got 1 success. It's not a rope holding this in place. Something else is holding this in place because there's no give. So the rope must engage or disengage some mechanism.
Okay.
Is what you figured out from that.
On the rope, I assume?
None whatsoever. There's absolutely no movement on that rope at all.
Okay. So Drew kind of he does the he pushes it.
Yeah.
And then he makes a show of he taps the top of the sword, patting somebody's head, and he's like I've changed my mind and decided to leave this here for tomorrow's festivities.
Already hands you your beer back and says, a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
Good try though. Good try.
I mean, because being king is just so much pressure.
It's a lot of work, and I
You think so?
And I feel like I need a bride. I feel like I need a bride before I become king.
I got a sister.
Help me.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah, she's older than me.
How old is he? Let's look.
He looks like he's late teens.
Okay.
Yeah, just a young guy. Little Chinese, just getting his first beard in.
He's pretty similar to Drew's age then.
Yeah, pretty close. The difference is where you are an esports athlete, this guy looks like an athlete. He looks like he's worked every day of his life. He looks like he would be comfortable in armor. The more you look at him, the more you realize this guy is, there's more to him than just this giggling, bumbling fool that you're having fun with.
Okay. And I'm going to kind of go over to Fiona. I'm going to say, it didn't budge. I think there's something else. I think there's something else holding it in place that the rope controls.
Interesting.
I'll join back up too and then see. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I think there's some mechanism, something else. I don't know. It's like.
So I guess the question is, do we let everything happen, or do we try and interrupt.
Well, I mean-
'cause
Well, I think perhaps the most prudent move at this moment would be to leave immediately. I believe we have all of the information necessary to provide a
Oh,
suitable
but-
story.
Okay, but
well,
you don't want
I
to
mean,
stay and watch? I mean,
something could go wrong tomorrow, and he could not be able to pull the sword out of the stone.
is he supposed to
and
pull?
then-
I don't.
And
Look,
then we don't know for sure one way or the other.
that's true.
Or somebody else could, interrupt and they pull the sword out of the stone, and suddenly it's not Arthur, but it's George.
Yeah. So was it even Arthur? They said was supposed to pull it out. Try to pull it out tomorrow.
Yes.
Yes, they did
Oh, it
say
was?
The Baron's
Baron
name
would
is
be
Arthur Tregathan. Yes.
Forget.
making
Okay.
an attempt. However, our mere presence has likely already caused a timeline shift. This universe that we are currently in is going to go in motion however it does. We were simply tasked with finding an explanation.
Well, but we don't. We also haven't. We haven't met Merlin, so we don't. We only have hearsay of what that dude's
True,
about.
we haven't met either of them.
That's yeah.
So
I do want to know how he is doing the
Also,
I mean, at this
medieval
point-
party. Hello.
At this point, we've only heard stories about the people, so that's not actually confirmation.
Mhm.
But this whole operation is a scam anyways on a certain level, so I'm morally okay with lying.
But I want to know.
I don't care about that, but there's a medieval party, and I want to watch this guy pull the sword out.
And I do expect that this is a very old form of hypnosis being practiced, which I would like to learn.
See, we're all on the same page, and Drew wraps his arm around Nathaniel, and he's like, "Come on, brother." And he forgets what he has in his hand, and he goes to take a swig, and then he's like, "Ah!" and he spits it out because it's gross.
I'm horrified by this entire interaction.
Mhm. It's
Being touched and
Yeah. Yeah.
Very well. Perhaps we should inspect our accommodations.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. So you guys start to make your way towards the accommodations. You notice Artie has started a party. Like he is back in the merchants area, and he's just handing out drinks to everybody. And whenever he talks to somebody, they come away smiling and just having a good time. And you guys make your way over to the housing for visiting dignitaries, which is what you are pretending to be. And you step in, and your handler from earlier is there. Ah, yes. Would you prefer rooms on this floor or the above?
The first floor, I'm not so good with heights.
Very well.
Very good. And rooms together then, beside each other. You are family, yes?
Yes.
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 Adjoining, if possible.
Of course. And they lead you to 3 very nice suites. You're on the front of the building, which is like that. This is a vote of you're special. But you guys have connecting 3 rooms side by side.
Fantastic. I'm going to...
And they're stunning. They are the height of 5th century fashion. These are very fancy beds and lots of draperies and lots of servants and assistants, and obsequiousness abounds everywhere you go.
I'm going
People
to
bowing to you all the time.
I'm going to start to inspect the room for cameras and microphones, then remember when I am.
Yes.
Right. Yes, and then I'll start to think of, okay, so I'm researching chemistry and stuff. Would there be a source of sulfur around?
Yes, there would be. Give me I want a reason check from Nathaniel. 'cause there was something that he saw today that might trigger something here.
Okay. What am I rolling against?
Target number 5. This is quite challenging still.
Oh
This is-
no.
Okay.
No.
Not yet.
Rolls.
Yeah, you've. There would be sulfur here. It would be relatively simple to find. Given how bad it smells, it's probably outside where the like the water wheel and the blacksmith are, rather than keeping it in the actual bailey itself. But certainly available if you wanted some. In fact, your little your helper could go and get you some if you were to ask for it. You get the impression that's how this works, right? If you want it. So.
I don't know if I want to ask the helper to get the things I need. It's gonna be kind of suspicious, though.
And then there's a sulfur-based fire.
I suppose at this time it might not be as suspicious. How do I explain that I need the crystallized residue from the outhouse?
The saltpeter,
Yes.
or the niter, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, there would be a. They were gathering it for fertilizer at this point, so that's a very valuable commodity, very high nitrogen. So
Very good. Excuse me.
yes, sir.
Would you be able to gather me a few items as we travel? I like to, for our local apothecaries are curious of the content of local substances.
No explanation necessary. So, what is it one requires?
Yeah, I'll be like, I need basically some of the nitrates, some sulfur.
Yep.
And I imagine there's a fireplace in the room, so I don't even...
Absolutely, you can get charcoal as well. Yeah, you absolutely can. And you start
and,
mixing and mashing in the corner.
Perhaps a flint.
Of course, sir. And he actually reaches down into his pocket and pulls out his little tinder box and gives it to you.
Oh, very good, thank you.
So that's what you're doing. You're making explosives. What are the other two doing?
I want to like walk into the room and kind of look like ooh, and like go open the window and see like how well the window opens and like how far down the ground is.
Yeah. This is a flip over the sill and sort of, you don't even have to hang. Like it's probably 4 feet from the bottom of the window to the ground.
Okay.
You're nice and low. Yeah. Nice and safe.
Close the window back down.
Yeah.
Look at Drew and just be like, if we need to get out in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Sometimes quests, sometimes you can only do quests at the middle of the night. So yeah, that's a good idea.
And whenever I'm finished, I'll join them in whichever room they're in.
So what is the overall plan? Are we waiting till it gets dark? Are we waiting till tomorrow? Is there anything we needed to get done before then, before I even ask those questions?
If you, Fiona, if you wish to inspect further the situation out there, I believe that I can cause a bit of a distraction that may allow me some private conversation with Merlin.
Well, do you want to do that, or do you want to just wait till it's night and everyone's drunk and asleep and we
Right,
can
because there's a party.
go check things out?
But I'm fine with either. But I did.
Look, sometimes
effort
there's
into
multiple.
making
It's
this.
okay. There's multiple ways to do quests. Sometimes we can start with one plan, and then if that doesn't work, you switch over to plan B. It's fine.
So I suppose we can go with your plan.
You're all going to survive, and then you're going to kill Drew just before you go back to the present.
Unless he died, I don't know what happened.
So yeah, I guess with what Drew is saying, we can, Nathaniel, we can try your method, and if that doesn't work, then we can go out in the middle of the night.
My primary aim at this point is to get the magician to exchange secrets, as it were. I've constructed basically what I assume he's using for his own puff of smoke entrances, and I think it may garner some trust.
Yeah, like you're like me too, and just think.
Yeah.
If you need my
It is
hammer,
the-
you can totally borrow.
The party is in full boom over next door. It's getting late in the afternoon, early evening. They have been going for 5 or 6 hours already, and they're not holding back in any way. The party is just getting louder and louder as it goes along.
Well, shall we make an entrance, so to say?
Indubitably.
We can make a grand entrance, or I can save this for a later moment.
Perhaps save it for a later moment. Make
Maybe
sure
we
that,
see, because we don't even know if
he's
they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes your princess is in another castle, and you have to like.
It's the sort of thing that tends to get word around. But yes, we will assess the situation first.
So you guys head towards the party. And there's much wooing and hooing. There's another sort of smaller party happening over in the market center, and Artie very much seems to be the center of that one. But you head back into the manor house itself, and as you step through the doors, you see a group of mostly middle-aged men, some a little younger, some a little older, but most of them middle-aged, dressed better than you are. These are clearly barons and that sort of equivalent. They are gathered around a table in the center of the room. There are empty ale tankards everywhere, just laying on the ground. There's half empties, there's empty ones, there's people scurrying around trying to clean up the mess, bring more drinks. They're getting harassed by the drunks as they do so. But in the middle of this, in this small table in the middle of the room, there's this old man with this robe pulled up. And you get the impression he's playing a part. He's not as gnarled and shriveled as he looks like he might be. But on the table in front of him, you recognize a very simple steam device. It's just a ball. It's got 2 little jets that come out like that. And you put water in it and you boil the water from underneath with the heat, and it spins around. And they are absolutely fascinated. This appears to be Arthur, and his magic. Nathaniel is low-level tech. Like the Greeks had this.
Is this Arthur? Or is this Merlin?
This is Merlin. The group around him. One of these people must be Arthur around him, but it's kind of hard to tell right now. They're all just hammered.
Yeah, I will approach. I'll walk
Yeah.
straight in. Interesting, but what does it do?
It's doing it now. It moves by itself.
For what purpose?
Entertainment.
Well,
I suppose you could do better. He's kind of looking around like,
I could. Do you have the workshop that you used to construct this nearby?
I do, yes.
Perhaps you could show me, and I could show you a few things.
I rather doubt that.
Have you
But-
considered the implications of this? Perhaps using it to replace beasts of burden, or, dare I say, attain flight?
He just hand in the middle of your back and start down the hall. Yes, and gone before you can tell anybody else in the room what your ideas are. Which leaves the 2 of you. We'll get back to Merlin and Nathaniel. We'll get back to that mind fight in a second. The other 2 of you, you are now left in the room with all of these drunk nobles.
Try and figure out who, like, from watching everybody's interactions,
Yeah.
who I think is Arthur.
Yep, give me an intuition roll.
All right.
This seems like a very intuition thing. Target number 3. He's not hard to find, really. The only thing that makes it difficult is they're all hammered. Yeah, you hear one of them. One of them keeps getting referred to as Big Bear, which you know Artus is the same name, is the same root. And you look over, and yeah, he's this very, very, very large. That sort of. He's every noble you've ever seen in every video game ever. He's just way too big, and he's just way too gaudy, and he's just got way too much big black hair and full beard, and he's drunk and he's wobbling around. That appears to be Arthur Tregathan, yes.
I'm gonna grab Drew kind of by the arm and like trying to make it look like he's leading me, but I'm like dragging him.
He's 100% not.
Yeah.
And just like stride up and hello. Wanted to introduce ourselves. We're here visiting, and I'm looking to find a spouse for my younger brother here.
Well, I'm not marrying him.
Oh no. Obviously not. Not in this.
Drew says, "Was it something I said?"
More about the way you fill out your. Never mind. No. What do you? Drinks?
Yes.
And the drinks come flying.
Drew whispers to Fiona, "You just called me scrawny."
Well, I
Just said I was scrawny.
So you'll be pulling attempting to pull the sword out tomorrow, I hear?
No attempting about it. I will be taking the sword out tomorrow. I've just given everyone else a chance to try first.
How did it? How did it get here? I'm so
A
confused.
miracle, son. A miracle. Appeared Christmas Eve.
Okay. Just like that.
One doesn't explain miracles. That's kind of the whole thing with a miracle, is they're sort of, as you so rightly put it, just like that.
So all the rest, I'll look at the rest of the gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
All the rest of you have attempted to remove the sword?
And a couple of them start to open their mouths to speak, and they're immediately cut off by the Baron. He's, yeah, they all tried and failed.
Yes. They don't have the power that you have.
No kings in this room. Well, just the one.
Not yet. Technically. I
And
mean,
he
I'm
looks
just
at you, and
saying.
there's just a little flicker of worry. Like, what do you know?
I mean, I'm just saying. They haven't done it yet. And like, you're his support character. He didn't even let them talk. You know, they're clearly support characters. Like, they're not important to the story. It doesn't matter.
You don't even have an interaction icon.
Right? Like, there's not even like.
Yeah. It doesn't even say press E to talk.
Yeah, there's no. And they just that guy just said he took an arrow. He used to be an adventurer, and then he took an arrow to the knee or something.
Yeah, it had to happen. Of course it did. For that, we're skipping over to Merlin.
I couldn't help. I had to.
Down a flight of stairs, of course, because if you're going to play with explosives, you do it in the basement. And he takes you into his room, Nathaniel, and as soon as he opens the door, the smells hit. You recognize all of them. He has got an explosives repertoire down here. Smoke making, exploding, stink bombs, anything you can imagine. He is an excellent alchemist, is from what you can tell.
Forgive me for disrupting your entertainment, but I was hoping that we'd have a chance to speak. Your reputation precedes you. I myself have dabbled in the art of alchemy. I don't wish to disrupt your current machinations nor your plans for tomorrow. I merely was hoping that we could exchange secrets. I've heard of your hypnosis powers, which intrigue me greatly. If you don't mind, I will
What?
refer to you as Merlin. You may refer to me as Nathaniel. We don't need to exchange true names.
This works for me. What would you offer me in return?
What would you like to know?
You smell like you're about ready to explode.
It's merely a backup plan in case I had trouble gaining your attention, but I'm sure it's nothing you're unfamiliar with, and I'll pull out my smoke bomb.
Yep. And he starts, if you let him, he starts poking at it.
Absolutely.
Charcoal. Of course.
Gives a bit
Damn
more
it.
punch to the effect, though you'll want to be standing a fair distance away from the center of the explosion.
Thank you. And he hands it back to you. What would you know? What would you have me tell you?
I would very much like to know how you are influencing the minds of individuals moving through speech.
Ah, yes, the power of words. Perhaps it would be best if we went back to the party and I showed you.
Well, if I'm unaware of what I'm observing, the lesson might be lost.
Well, what do you think the chances are of that entire bunch of fools busting out in a dance?
They seemed fairly intoxicated, so not a well-coordinated one. But
Point taken.
that'd be quite interesting.
I know. Follow me. And he leads out of his room. If you follow him back, he walks back into the room, and you see him sort of put his finger up to his forehead, and he concentrates. And I'm actually going to roll.
And by the way, Nathaniel is well aware that he has just completely fucked up world history, but he doesn't care.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Yeah, absolutely. He puts his hand up to his head and concentrates for a second, and you see, I mean, he's really concentrating. He's almost like you can see the blood vessels sticking out. He's almost giving himself an aneurysm. He's concentrating so hard. But eventually, first one, and then the next one, and the next one, and like a curve around the room, each one of them goes like that.
No.
Quite amusing.
Fiona's just going to glare down at Drew and be like, "What have you done?" 'Cause
Oh,
she
Drew
probably
is-
didn't
Drew
see
does it.
Merlin.
When he sees them, I'll do it. Drew's like, yes!
Quite impressive. And the way it's done?
Focus. That's all I can tell you. It's just mental focus. I
Surely
make
you're
them
not-
want to do it.
Surely you're not trying to persuade me that this is the result of telepathic influence.
Let's try this, he says. And he looks at you and says, kneel. Give me a mind defense, please.
All right. Waiting for this.
Ooh,
I got
0 successes. How many points of mind do you have?
3.
3 points of mind. So you feel an overwhelming urge to kneel, but you force yourself to stay standing. It is an effort of will and concentration. And when you sort of open your eyes, because I see you've got them closed now, when you open your eyes, he is shocked. You resisted.
How long have you been able to do this?
Since October.
Any notable occurrences around that time?
Yeah. Lady, lake, sword, mission.
So, the Lady of the Lake is real.
And she bade me choose a king.
Why all the theatrics? Why not just...
Have you seen these people?
Yes, I feel like you could have accomplished it with much less effort.
Call me a showman.
Well, that I certainly wouldn't deny. Also, why this man for king?
He is strong, does not fear violence, is willing to go to war, willing to fight. But mostly, it's because he's incredibly easy to manipulate.
If I were to share with you an incredibly shocking truth, would you... Well, I feel that you would be discreet, but it wouldn't alter you from your course set upon by this lady, would it?
What are you suggesting? You?
Well, what I've shown you so far could very much change the course of events to come.
Yes.
And if you were to utilize that, the consequences could be dire. However, you've been set upon a mission by a magical being, and you seem to be adamant about keeping with that mission and straying from it. So I do hope that the secrets I've shared with you will be kept to yourself and rest in your grave.
They will. I will use what you have shown me to make him a better king, a stronger king.
Let me be more explicit. If you are to weaponize this construction, you may jeopardize the very kingdom you hope to build.
I see. Well, I guess it's back to plan A then. We let it look like he did it all.
That may be the best plan. It has been an overwhelming pleasure to meet you, and I do hope that your discretion holds.
Charcoal.
And if it's any consolation, as long as you don't stray from your original plan and forget that I ever arrived, in 1,000 years, they will still speak your name.
Meanwhile, back in the throne room, well, in the common room, in the major hall.
What?
Yes.
What have you done? This. Oh God, this is changing. No.
Look, I don't think that one dance move is gonna ruin everything.
You have no idea.
Should see the Bayou Tapestry now.
A portrait of King Arthur. He's like, Drew's like, look, it's already done now, okay? And who knows what the other one is doing.
Oh, well, I mean, he's just finding out about Merlin. I'm sure he hasn't told him anything or shown him anything that's going to, like, change the course of history.
No. See,
he seems smarter than that.
Yeah, he sure does seem like it. I guess we'll find out. And I don't know, Drew's kind of in the mode now where it's like, cool, so now we wait for him to come back and we do a time pass, and you know, and then everything will like, you know, maybe we go see. I don't know if we want to go see what the mechanism is that does the thing. Like, I don't know if that's our quest. You know, there's no quest markers here, so I kind of gotta figure it out. I don't know what kind of a thing they got going on here, but like, so I guess we just get to decide. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of how life works. You know,
learning
maybe,
moment for Drew. Sorry. Go.
Fiona's going to just kind of try and not like engage that much, but keeping an eye on like observing what Arthur's doing and like trying to see like, oh, does he seem to be just a drunk buffoon, or does like he actually seem to be legit?
What he seems is very much a drunk buffoon, very much easily led. He's one of those guys that if you said, don't jump off the balcony, he'd jump off the balcony. He is not, he doesn't seem to be a natural leader. He's very violent. He pushes the people in this room around. He gives you the impression that he's not a nice person. Nathaniel, when you get back, do you share what Merlin told you about him, that he's easily manipulable and that's why he's their choice, or his choice?
Yeah, I will try to pull at least Fiona off into a corner and Droopy do whatever he wants.
I'll drag Drew along just to keep an eye on him, if nothing else.
Yeah. So it appears that it's more than a rudimentary form of hypnosis. He can do the thing with his mind.
But that it must be some like, did you drink something? Was there an odd smell? Like, magic? No.
Well, I didn't. There were many odd smells. It was an alchemist's laboratory, but he was able to influence well, you saw it.
Wait.
Yes.
I thought
motion
it was
of
just
the crowd.
Drew.
No, I believe it was obviously inspired by Drew earlier, that he must have seen, but this was force of will of Merlin himself. He claims to have gotten this power around October, and he sticks pretty close to the legend of the Lady in the Lake and the origin of Excalibur. I would very much like to investigate that aspect. Perhaps we can gain that assignment at another time. But what concerns me is that he essentially chose Arthur as a suitable puppet.
Well, that, I mean, makes sense. He doesn't seem to be much of a leader.
No, certainly not. I'm not sure what else we can or should do here, though at this point I'm ambivalent on staying for tomorrow's festivities. I'll leave it up to you. It is apparently a truthfully historic moment. Would not be terrible to observe.
I mean, we've stayed this long. Another 12 hours. Might as well stay. How much damage can we do in 12 hours? We'll only just introduce dabbing. I'm sure if there's...
Yep. And a certain very powerful explosive. Yeah, several hundred years in the West, anyway. Several hundred years earlier than it actually got there, but that's
as long as he doesn't use it till we leave.
Yep.
I'm fine. I just don't want to lose my cut.
Well, And he
Okay.
gave it back to you, so he does not have your. He's going to have to make it. So
He knows the formula.
Doesn't
So,
matter. He's got a more
with
powerful
that-
tool now.
I don't normally like to rush groups, but are
Yeah.
you guys going to do anything tonight, or are you going to wait till tomorrow morning?
I think we'll just. Nathaniel doesn't have anything else he feels he needs to do.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
he's just kind of along for the ride.
Drew just wants to kind of like have a medieval party and
does. And Drew is actually Drew.
Oh god.
You get hammered because you're a lightweight. Because you're an esports guy, and I have just decided that you are a lightweight. You get
yeah.
hammered. At some point, you look around and you're
If
like,
it ain't Mountain Dew, it won't do.
Yeah, you're looking around like, I am too drunk. And you do that thing that people try and do. You concentrate to try and sober up. I would like you to make an intuition roll, please.
All right, what's the target?
Difficulty for this, you're hammered, and you believe in this. 3.
Mm-mm.
Oh, still no successes. Okay, no,
Nope.
you are still, you try to sober yourself up and it doesn't work. You're hammered. But you party the rest of the night away. You are no less or no more drunk than the rest of the nobles around you. And besides, you're a noble, so it doesn't matter how drunk you get. You spend the night getting as gibbled as you want.
I feel like at a certain point, kind of when the night's coming to an end and he's still drunk, he's gonna like walk outside and he's
Yep.
gonna like pull the hammer out and
Yep.
with all his might he's get because nobody told him they didn't tell him what it did, supposedly.
Yep.
So as far
Yep.
as he knows, like it's just a channel for magic and he can do whatever he wants with it.
Yep.
And so he's gonna go outside and he's going to but it is a hammer. So
Yep.
you know, in most games, you have to like kind of use it how it's intended to be used a little bit.
Yep.
So he's gonna go outside, and he's going to like find a nail and like hook the back of the hammer in the nail
Fancy hammers.
and pull it out. And what he's trying to do is like magically pull all the nails out in like a single strip of wood with one go. He's like,
Okay.
"Dah!" like,
Give me another intuition roll. You're trying to actively do magic here.
What's the target?
Difficulty on this because now you're trying to concentrate. This is harder. This is going to be.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've ever done magic. This is
Yeah.
going to be 6s.
Okay. Oh god, not 36. Lord have mercy.
No, not 36 dice. You'll succeed if you roll 36 dice.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Oh, I
of
got so
course.
close though. Oh man.
You hook that hammer on there and you start to pull and it doesn't come and you start to concentrate and you put your foot on the wall and really pull and then the head of the nail comes off, like it just snaps, and the hammer comes back in your hands and you kind of toss it over your shoulder and you hear bung, and you turn and look over your shoulder and your hammer is stuck to the side of the rock, the stone.
I'm gonna go get it.
Give me a strength check.
And I'm like, is
Oh,
that power?
Sorry, power. Yeah, I used the right stats. Kevin, Jesus, you invented the game.
You're right.
Power, please.
What's the
Difficulty at least 6. Yeah, 6 is going to take multiple successes.
okay.
That's okay. Okay. Drew's got a hernia. Your hammer is not coming off. It is
What is it stuck to? Is
the
it like
stone.
Is it like wedged
You're
in there?
gonna wiggle it and wiggle it. It's just give me a reason check.
God,
I'm
okay.
gonna roll all your dice tonight.
That's fine.
This isn't that tough. This is, if you stop to think about it, this is a 3.
All right.
Yeah.
three.
This is a 3.
2 successes.
There you go. 2 successes. It's a magnet.
Oh.
There's a bloody magnet inside the stone. That explains why you can't move the sword. That explains why you can't move your hammer. It explains why the anvil's there.
Oh. Shucks. Um.
But you're outside by yourself,
I don't.
and
Yeah.
your hammer's not coming off that rock.
And I can't think of any like video game tropes about magnets.
Fucking magnets. However they work.
It's not in the video games, so I don't know.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh god, okay, and he's like, stay there, and he runs inside and tries to find Fiona and Nathaniel.
Sure.
Um,
And does so. Drunk Drew stumbles in. I lost my hammer. He's stuck on a rock.
they've probably just been hanging out trying to overhear.
Can't even dab properly anymore.
Yeah, it's all messed up. You have to just come here.
Okay.
And he just walks back at it. He doesn't look to see if they're following him. He just assumes
Fiona's just gonna shrug and follow after.
they've been given a quest that he just assumes that the NPCs will follow along with this quest.
So you guys get back to the stone, and there, about 6 inches off the ground, is this blacksmith's hammer stuck to the side of the stone. It's very obvious that it's magnets holding it in place.
Maybe we can deactivate it
magnetic.
and then reactivate it. Because if somebody comes along and just sees a hammer sticking off, that might make the whole pulling the sword out of the stone weird.
Yeah, I'm gonna walk up to it, and rather than trying to pull it straight off,
Yeah.
I'm going to peel it off to the side.
Try and slide it off to the side. Yeah. You can start to get it moving a little bit, and if one of the others helps you, I won't even make you roll for it. You can slide it off the rock.
Yeah, I'll definitely help him.
Okay, so you guys can get the hammer off. As you do, you hand it back to Drew? Does he get his hammer back?
I'll leave that up to Fiona.
Yeah, like careful.
He takes it. He's like, I dropped it.
And then you go to put it back on your belt, and it sticks to your belt buckle. Like
Oh,
it
no.
pulls over magnetically, and it's stuck to your belt buckle.
Oh no.
Oh, that's a good.
I mean,
spot for
it's
it.
not like forever. You can pull it off. It's not horrifically strong, but yeah, it's magnetized your hammer to some extent.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that might come in handy.
Clever.
So
Yeah, I need to do a time lapse, and get some sleep, so I get my well rested benefits for tomorrow.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Anybody else?
I'll just say to Fiona, I think that answers the final question. Well, not the final one, obviously. There's a magical woman in a lake giving out cutlery, but the questions we've been sent to answer directly. So, hang out, see the festivities tomorrow. Hang out. Am I using that right? It's a recent addition to my vocabulary.
Not a
Yeah.
new term. Where are you from?
London. Anyways, yes. So we'll. See you in the morning, and I'm going to hurry back to my room.
An uncomfortable silence descends.
Drew leads up to Fiona and he's like, that NPC is really weird.
That we're both NPCs.
Well, I'm an NPC for you, right? Because
Philosophy with Drew.
but you're
I think it's time for you to
a
go
player
to bed.
character.
And you stumble drunk Drew down the hallway, making no sense.
See NPCs, and he's like, NPCs and PCs. It's all about
NPCs.
perspective. It's all about where.
You just
What side
pour
you're
him into
looking at it
bed,
from.
clothes
Yeah.
and all.
So,
He's still telling
you're
the
the hero
pillow
of your
all
own
about
story.
NPCs.
Yeah.
And you're yeah. You get
And
them.
I feel like I should. Okay, so how long has it? Drew hasn't played video games all day,
Yeah.
so I feel like
You also haven't mapped all day either, so
I feel like he well, yeah, I guess now that when he's in the privacy of his own room, he'll do the mapping, and then I feel like I probably need to do a check. I don't know, a check or just because like.
A will say.
Yeah, basically to see if he can not play video
And
games.
he resist. You're living in.
do you think he would in that situation, or would he just shove in the earbuds and start playing?
I feel like he would. try.
Would you
I
try
feel
and
like
resist?
I
Okay.
feel like he would try because he's not like he doesn't have he knows he doesn't have like a lot of battery.
Sure.
So maybe he'll just play like a quick round. You know, like a quick.
This I like
more
better.
game.
So, do you manage to stop yourself after one game?
So, because
Reason?
here's the thing: is that when you okay, all right, let's do it.
Okay.
Because when you get
you
into
know Drew
you know,
better than me.
when you get into
What's the
playing fork
difficulty
knife,
Yes, exactly. You've been playing. Yeah. So you
It's
tell me
hard.
what the difficulty is. If he starts playing, what are the chances that he's going to be able to stop, or is he going to play until the batteries are dead?
Oh God. Okay. All right. What's this? Okay. So that's a 2. That's okay. So what's my
Roll
target?
2 dice.
My
What do
target
you
number?
think your target number is? Is that a 6 maybe?
Well, because he has played one round, and he knows that there's a
Yep.
thing. So I feel like I don't feel like it'd be a 6. I mean, because it's
5?
I guess.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh God. Okay. I'm so sorry. Oh no!
All night, drunk Drew. You guys can hear it through
Oh, I
the
forgot he's-
walls
yeah.
because he forgot to put the headphones in because he's hammered. And all night. Son of a
if he
bitch!
was-
There's a rage quit a couple times. You hear
Yeah.
it bounce off the wall at least once.
If he was
You
sober,
can't get
I
into
feel like...
group play at all. Like there's, you can only do offline play. It's
Yeah.
really
Oh,
annoying. You're
God,
only playing
it's-
against bots. They're
Bots?
idiots.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
All
They're just
night.
like stop spinning in a circle, dude. I can't.
Yeah. They get stuck behind stuff and just run into the
Yeah.
wall.
It's awful.
They're worse than noobs. I
It's the
know.
worst. And then like when the
So,
like,
yeah, the
you
batteries wear out, and you look up, and the sun is coming up, and the headache is pounding
Oh my
behind
God.
your eyes.
This is
You've
too
got a
real for me right
hideous
now. I can't
hangover. You're
handle what's
Mouth-
happening.
your stomach is just like, oh, I should have ate. But
Mm.
you guys make your way downstairs, out into the open area. Mass begins. Mass ends. Tregathan and his entourage come out of the church and approach the stone.
I'm going to try something. When he
Mhm.
gets to the point of actually reaching for the sword, I am going to try to concentrate and through force of will, as Merlin did, because sometimes these things happen once you're touched by it, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
to will him to change his mind and have his son do it.
Whose son?
Arthur has a son, right?
Yeah, he's got a teenage son. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're rolling that to Arthur. Okay.
Trying to will Arthur to stop and have his son go.
Absolutely. Normally, and this is the best part about building your own system, normally I would have had you roll intuition because that's your magic stat, basically, in this game. But Nathaniel, as I understand it, am I wrong, or is he a creature of reason?
Oh, he is a creature of reason. Absolutely. I didn't know.
Because I am willing, because he doesn't particularly believe in magic, to have him non-verbally, at least in his head, non-verbally hypnotize Arthur. So you can use reason instead of intuition.
I will do that. Oh, jeez. Cat just broke something.
You give me a, this is a roll versus target number, and that target number is 6. This is the first time
man.
you've ever tried to do it. You are trying to break a baron's mind. Come on, dice.
No! Oh,
fives.
you got so close.
2 5s and a 4.
Oh man. Brutal.
I had to try.
A hand, Nathaniel, rests on your shoulder. And you hear, nice try, dude. Actually, that's a good idea. Do it again. And you feel Artie Pendergrast squeeze your shoulder.
I look over at him and I change the instructions slightly, I tell him to have Artie do it.
And Drew he sidles up
Target
to
number is down to 5 because he's helping you.
Drew sidles up to Artie, and he like kind of nudges him. He's like, man, I knew you were a main character.
2 successes. 2 things happen. 3 things happen. Where you're standing, because you know where to look, right down between the church and the house, you see that rope as Arthur steps up and starts his speech. And it's a prepared speech, and he's just being it's annoying. And you see the rope pull taut, and you realize that somebody has disengaged the magnet from around the corner. And Arthur stops in mid-sentence, and he goes pale. And he steps back and goes like this. Next to you, you hear, "Oh shit." And he lets go of your hand and just walks past you like he's not in control of himself. And Arthur Pendergrast steps forward and with one hand draws Excalibur from the stone. Another young man steps out behind you, the 3 of you, and kind of leans in and says, "I'll take it from here if you don't mind. Marlon Starwatcher, nice to meet you."
Pleasure to meet you as well. By the way, the Baron's magician should probably be eliminated pretty quickly.
Yeah, about that. And he leans back, and you see him start to walk down between the house and the church. And as he steps around the corner, you see him drawing his dagger and smiling. In front of you, everyone in this open area has frozen. And one by one, the Baron leading the way, they take a knee. And one by one, they give their fealty, their loyalty, and their lives to Arthur Pendergrast, the man who can tell when you're lying, the new king of the Britons.
Drew kneels and dabs. And he's like, "Artie!"
And as you do that, all the others look out of the corner of their eyes, and in full respectful mode, they all go.
I'm gonna look at Fiona and just give her the "we should go" eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
like-
nobody looking at you right now. You guys just.
While everyone is distracted.
Scooch our way back.
While everyone in the county is here.
On the way back,
back
Drew's
down
like,
the hill. Yeah.
Drew's like, "Hey, so I hope you guys remember where the thing is, because
Weren't you supposed to be
Back.
mapping that?
well, so I did, but I was gonna play one round of Fork Knife, okay, and then this guy, this Noctum Sky guy, like he was sending me messages, and he was like, "Oh, you're the worst, like get off the game, like give up." And so I had to,
Wow,
you
your
know, I had
roaming
to
charges
destroy
are
this
going
guy.
to be through the roof.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Roaming
that
through
magic
time
on
and
the way
space.
home.
And as you guys make your way back down the hill and into the orchard, you find the rocks set by Fiona. And you reach up and put your hand, and you thump your hand against that door. You slide your hand down this invisible door and find the doorknob and turn it and pull it open. And you see that sign there again. The one that says, "Through this door lies your homes and your families. Make sure that nothing and no one that should not go goes."
Kind of check my
Check
pockets.
yourselves.
I'm gonna look over my shoulder. Make
The
sure
rapier is on your hip, Nathaniel.
I
the
wasn't
most
going to mention
stunning.
that. I'm going to look over my shoulder and make sure no one's watching.
Yeah.
Remind me what year
Who
this
steps
is
through?
that we're in?
493 Common Era.
Yes. Yep. Step on
So-
through.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna try. Drew's gonna be like, hold on. Fork knife gave me an idea, and he's gonna try to use this hammer to build a magical wall that you can't see past, so that nobody can see us
Do
going.
you have 10 wood?
You start flailing on stuff with your hammer, and then you kind of stop because you realize that should probably stay here too. Your
My ha-
magic hammer.
But my hammer.
The one that was stuck to the stone. The one that was right there next to Excalibur.
But my hammer.
Probably stay here.
Did I see Nathaniel take the sword through?
Well, he was wearing it. It's a full-length rapier.
It was all up out there.
Yeah.
He's kind of been the leader of this, so unless somebody
Uh-huh.
says anything,
Well, I
Drew
imagine
will-
Fiona went through first, so.
Oh yeah.
And then
Okay.
you turn and thump, he steps through, and then at the
Yep.
end, holding your hammer and the dead batteried. What have you got? Is it a switch? We all know what it is.
Well,
Because
yeah,
you're
probably.
a retro gamer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you step
Yeah.
through in the end, the door
Feels like the
closes
retro stuff.
behind you. The other door opens, the other airlock door opens, and you step back down the hall through the storm that's still there. It's like no time at all passed. Thank you so much, Honorable Aggro. Thank you so much. You step back through that door into the office, and the sleeper is still there on the screen. And the voice says, "What should we tell him, our client?"
All of the stories were true, except for Merlin. He was a fraud. But essentially, an elaborate hoax. But the Lady of the Lake and origin of Excalibur are still in question.
And Arthur became king?
Arthur Pendergrass became king.
Surprisingly small permutation given all of that history. Thank
What-
you.
What, excuse me. What was the permutation?
Pendragon. The original myth said his last name was Pendragon. I'm sure it's creative license at some point.
Did I mishear, or was Pendergrass was what I was told, right?
No, Pendergrass is who he was. Yeah. And just so you don't think you missed anything, it is literally just like history just changed it to make it cooler.
Yeah.
That's part of my
Cool.
So at that, the desk drawer behind you pops open. And in it there are 3 chip cards, the equivalent of a debit card. But these are black and there's no numbers on them. And you guys do all your banking and all of your everything through your watches. And the sleeper says, simply hold it close to your watch. And you do. And you watch the bank account, the probably fairly small bank account that you had before this, suddenly get 50,000 larger. This is a house, a car, a lifestyle.
Sentient art. You don't mind if I take the disposable costume with me, do you? There's an interesting masquerade I was hoping to attend, and it will dissolve.
It will last approximately 30 days.
Oh, fantastic.
I do have a question. I'm sure you would all like to go and spend your newfound fortunes. But did you enjoy yourselves?
was quite
To be more
interesting.
accurate, would you do it again? To
Will you
be
pay me
even
again?
more, oh yes, and to be even more accurate, your second mission, should you choose to accept it. What do you know about Leonardo da Vinci and the Mona Lisa? And that's where we'll drop the curtain on tonight.
Are they programmers at Bethesda? Like, is that?
If I can just add one thing,
Please do.
if we're not immediately leaving for another mission, or even
No.
if we're told to, yeah, Nathaniel is immediately going to an antique dealer.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to give you guys a tiny little heads up. We are going to start next week by you telling me what you did in the week
Okay. so we
between
have
when
a
you
week.
got rich and when you got asked to come back to work. So that's
Cool.
where we will start next week.
Cool.
I want to thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
The level of bravery that the three of you showed by coming and saying, yes, I will come and play your untested system on stream in front of strangers with very little information and very little prep. You guys are amazing. I'm very, very happy that I got original members to do this with. This was like sitting around a kitchen table with old friends, and I really had a good time tonight, and I want to thank all three of you for that. So thank you, Dawn, thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Jonathan. I had a blast.
I had a great.
For a wonderful
It was
adventure.
a lot of fun to dust Nathaniel.
Oh, you're welcome. I had a good time. And thank you to everybody in chat. Honorable Aggro, thank you for the sub. I see all kinds of names over there. I appreciate all of you. We appreciate all of you. And I guess let's see what happens next week when we go and try and figure out what happened with the Mona Lisa. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
I liked who they picked to narrate this game, guys. It's really cool.
In the tower's base, the mortal of Hellstone sundered, so the tower collapsed into waste.